Hello. Let's see. Man, I can't hear myself. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. Some audio. Let me guys know if you guys can hear me okay. Um, let's see. Glad to see everybody in here. Yeah, sorry about the delay. Um, I was running a little bit late already because I had to go to the dentist earlier. And I'm still just waiting on my brother Chris. Apparently, Indy left. Will be in with us a little bit later. Extra Bullet says, sound great. Thank you. Oh, shit, that's hot. Okay, and I want to say a shout out to everybody I see out there. I see Extra Bullet, Warren out there, Yipper99, Noli D, Shadow Band, Baba Yeager. Oh, let's see, who else do we got in there? That's all I see for now. Let's see, who else do we got? Just making sure. Words of Will, how are we doing? Chris is looking for his Power Polo shirt. That might be very well possible. Sunshine, hello, Sunshine. I see you there. I guess the birds are joining this cast also. I don't know if you guys hear them chirping in the background. Yeah, so I figure I will chit chat with you all for a moment until Mr. Lawson is with us. I see SM Domin is here. I see John Kemper is in the building. What's up? There he is, looking like he just woke up from a nap with a fresh, crispy cut.
Nah, kid.
I see
was
you.
watching that. I was watching Brooklyn and Boston. It's a good game. Brooklyn was getting their asses busted.
Oh, well, that's always good.
But what's good, man? How you doing? Everybody in the crowd came through. Thank you. We appreciate it. What's going on?
Oh yeah, it's good to see everybody. I noticed we got a couple of new subscribers, so that is always a good thing. And if you guys still haven't seen my interview I did with Carl Za, I recommend you see it. If there are any questions that you guys have that you guys want me to ask to Carl, I will be having it back on soon. So please let me know, and I can formulate some of those questions into the next conversation. Man, I guess maybe my mic is a little too loud. I'm like hearing everything right now. Hearing every
Oh,
damn car honk, hearing shit slamming in the background. Got it all going on. I don't know. Can you hear all that too?
no, I can't hear anything. Can you hear Big Pun behind you?
Oh shit, big pun, man. I told you, man. You guys don't realize Chris is a champ for being here every show because I don't know if I could be here listening to the kind of atmosphere he has going on behind him. I don't even know how he's able to not be distracted because I know my ass would be.
Well, I've lived here for some time, and I kind of made a promise to myself not to go crazy when I got here. So I've stuck to my word.
Um, he says, "Oh, you switched it up." Warren says you went with the V neck of power. Hey, Yipper says, "Is Carl a Marx?" Ah, that's funny. And Kelly says, "Great interview, thank you."
Yeah, you did your thing there. I think I told you that the other day, but yeah, for sure, you did your thing. I was watching. You know, I was doing the dishes, and you asked a lot of good questions, and you got a lot out of him.
Well, yeah, I want my goal. And I want people to make sure to follow my other channel for that. That's where I'm going to have my long, in-depth interviews. Of course, there'll be some where some of the interviews will be on this show. But for that channel, that's where majority of those longer interviews, as far as going into foreign policy, are going to be in. I have one which I'm working on with Dr. Hughes of Scoon TV. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he is a doctor and journalist. Doctor as far as in the, I believe he's in African history, but he specializes in all politics, dealing with Africa, and he has some very interesting stuff, which I've been reading, going into Africa's relationship with Russia. And so I think that is going to help and dovetail into some of the stuff that I was talking about with Carl Zah. And it's going to start going into Africa and their ties in with China and just so many things. He's very, very knowledgeable man. So looking forward to having that interview. That should be somewhere around maybe the second week of May. And I see Misha in the chat. What's up, Misha?
Misha, what's up, man?
So I figured let's go on ahead and get the intro going, and then we can start to hop into some of these topics that we got. We got some fun ones tonight. We got back to some of our original roots too, where we're really digging into like what some consider conspiracy theory, what we consider just truth seeking. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. And we do have an interview next week with Doom and Gloom, Ali and Seb. So I recommend you guys check that out. We're going to get into biblical prophecies and a lot of other things. I'm gonna try to see if I can sneak my boy Fuzz on with me. So make sure you guys check that one out. But without further ado,
we're here because you have a question that you need an answer to. Hello, and thank you for joining me.
This is because these words did not come from us.
Mostly kidding. Mostly.
Ham and the garlic aioli.
I mean, they're going to change the narrative to Black Lives Matter to all Black Lives Matter, and then they're going to talk about LGBT.
So I felt like I wanted to put a couple of clips together.
Seltzer all day long. I love that shit.
Doesn't matter where we are. We obviously came up in the house.
You know how he treats them. He don't treat them nice at all. He real rough with them, and you was a good man.
Budget, so much more, are forming this weird cabal.
Yeah, it's not. None of them are.
Do the Chinese own part of that?
So he picked Masvidal. So I have Kobe tonight. Whether it's Biden, whether it's Obama, just sitting up there.
There are people in the Green Party that can organize. No, they can organize. They usually just get blackballed by their own party too.
Taking orders from the private industry here.
Like I say, people come on here, they can say stuff they don't normally say on their own shows, which is fine.
All right, and welcome everybody to the Political Matrix. I am your host, Young Morpheus, here with my good brother, colleague, ride or die, Mr. Chris Cy Lawson. Hello, everybody out there. How are we all doing? And I see something interesting in there. I'm going to have to look into this. I don't know much about it, but if you guys have information on this, which looks like it might be some breaking news, or it might just be them rehashing issues from the past over and over to try to go after this young man. But Richard Medhurst, apparently it says that he's going after underage women or something. I'm not familiar with this subject or anything about this. I mean, maybe I'll take a moment to peek through my phone, see what I can find later on. But yeah, if you guys know anything more about that, please let us know. Dale, good evening also to you. The subjects we have tonight, we are going to get into Malcom Nance. I know we talked about it last week, but and I'm one of those people where I like to give credit where credit is due. Apologies for the airplane flying across, but credit where credit is due. Even though Jamarl Thomas, who I used to listen to quite a bit, once he started getting kind of some of his commentary as far as the whole COVID, his stance on COVID and stuff kind of made me, it really kind of rejected me a lot from, I guess it turned me off to listening to anything that he had to say. He was just, let's just say I was not cool with his approach to a lot of things and his takes. And so I stopped listening to a lot of his commentary. But one thing he's always been very solid on, which I feel like he still is pretty solid on, is foreign policy and following those different things. Wesley says, hello, and I'm glad to see that Wesley is in the building. Yes, Extra Bullet says, COVID broke Jamarl's brain. I agree. SM says, I think COVID comes from his health issues. I think so also. That's the reason why I've tried to kind of relax a little bit. I know that I listen to him like regularly. I was one of my number one go-to. So I know that he is immunocompromised. I know that he has almost been like on his deathbed a couple of different times. So I understand for him to be a little bit more on the anxious side. So I guess, give him a break there. People like Graham, he's freaking lost his mind, in my opinion. And I don't think it's ever coming back. Glory Jones, she says, oh snap, I made the Political Matrix intro vid. Of course, I have to have Glory Jones in there. If I could, I'm telling you, if Steve would allow me, I would snatch you over here to this show in 2 seconds. Doesn't even know how fast you would be a part of this show. Yeah, I was not a fan of that. And so a lot of the people who've had some of the kind of harder COVID takes, I've just kind of, tuned them out and eventually start tuning them out on everything since COVID became so big that it interwove through everybody's shows. But he had whistleblower and patriotic hero John Kiriakou on, who's I guess now hosting his former show Political Misfits on the fault lines with him and his I didn't even know he had a new co-host. Last I saw, it was still Shane Stranahan, but I guess he's on with Manila Chan, and they exposed some things which I didn't even catch on to because Malcolm Nance and Joanne Reed, that's just cringe factory to me. So I didn't even watch like the interview to take the time to pick it apart. But I guess if you watch it, there's some things to notice in there. So we're going to get into that. Chris brought up a good point. We were talking during the week, and Chris wants to go into talking about the Sharif family of Palestine and bring us some things which I don't think a lot of people are quite aware of. So we're going to go into that. I wanted to talk about a couple of other issues also, but we'll get started shortly. I see Spade is in there. Hey, Spade. Glory says, you're not the only one left my ass off. Steve stole me from Convo Couch and Nico first. Yes, we all love Glory. We all love her. I consider her my little sister, whether she considers me the big brother or not. Actually, she's probably more like the big sister because I think she's more mature than I am. But that's a whole nother matter. Let's see. Chris, of these stories that we have tonight, which one of these stories would you like to hop into? I will give you your choice. I don't know. Had you heard about the POWs, which Russia had, who has been doing, I guess, propaganda? Have you heard about that, sir?
So I was on mute. Who are you talking about? No.
You hadn't heard about that. So I figured maybe a lot of people haven't heard about it. So I wanted to pull up that video and show it so everybody will know what I'm talking about. That's the reason why I try to watch a couple of different other news stations. Well, I watch some, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this news station isn't kind of on the they would be mainstream media for India. but do they not have some damn good commentary? In some areas, they are dead on. So let me find this real quick and pull this up. Man, I had so much crap in here. I need to have this stuff ahead of time, but didn't have the time right now. Where is my?
Is it WeOn?
Yeah, it's on WeOn. I normally have my what is it called? I have a folder in here for news to cover. So I normally keep the stories I want to go into in that folder. I might just go ahead and just go straight to WeOn and pull it out.
Damn mad Marxist. He said just bodied 5 Brooklyn Knights. Damn. I mean, for those who don't know, he's talking about the Brooklyn and Boston playoff game today, Game 3, which took place in Brooklyn. Boston Celtics went into Brooklyn and gave the Nets the business, which is a little surprising to people. Some of us, because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving both play on Brooklyn, and those are two of the most skilled dudes in the league, probably. Like they nasty. So I mean, I'm surprised they're losing the way they are. But Marcus, I was just killing time. So,
yeah, I see Yona. I see Yona's in here. Hey, Yona.
Yona, what's up?
Yipper says that channel is batshit crazy. They do some good work. I'm not gonna say that they're not, that they don't have some perspectives there. Honestly, it's one perspective. It's one area, 2 areas. They're a little bit more on the Ukraine, they're with the mainstream media as far as the kind of Ukrainian position. They're not as hawkish as American audiences, but they're, let's just say I'm not with their perspective. And on stuff with COVID, I'm not with them on some of that stuff, but they did break a lot of good shit. Here is the clip I want you guys to check out. And it's good that Chris hasn't seen this yet or heard about it. He gets to react live to it. So check this out, sir, and tell me what you think.
West, the British Prime Minister has received one. It's from 2 prisoners of war currently held captive by Russia. They have urged the Boris Johnson government to push Ukraine for a prisoner swap to exchange them in return for a pro-Russia politician who is currently under house arrest. Who are these captives? Where did they make this appeal? And how has 10 Downing Street responded? Our next report explores.
In the videos I've seen online of Russian soldiers.
The man you just heard is Aidan Aslin, a British national from Nottingham. In 2018, he joined Ukraine's armed forces as a Marine. For the last 50 days, he has been fighting to defend Ukraine, but a shortage of supplies forced his unit to surrender. Aidan is now a prisoner of war, and the Russians are using him for propaganda. On Monday, the Russian state TV, Rossiya 1, aired this video. It shows the soldier making an appeal to Britain's Prime Minister, an appeal to be exchanged for a pro-Kremlin politician being held in Ukraine.
I think Boris needs to listen to what Oksana has said. I remember seeing in the news when Viktor Medvedchuk was arrested for his political affiliations. If Boris Johnson really does care, like he says he does, about British citizens, and he would help pressure Zelensky to do the right thing and return Victor to his family and return us to our families.
Aidan Aston is not the only one. This is Sean Pinner, a 48-year-old former Royal Anglian soldier. He fought alongside Ukrainian troops in the besieged city of Mariupol. He too was captured by Russia. He too is being used for state propaganda. Watch how.
Mr. Boris Johnson, obviously I'm Sean Pinner. A lot's gone on over the last 5 or 6 weeks that I'm not fully aware of. Obviously, I understand that Mr. Medvedchuk has been detained and we look to exchange myself and Aiden Aslin for Mr. Medvedchuk. Obviously, I'd really appreciate your help in this matter and pushing this agenda. Medvedchuk has been
What's common between the two captives is the appeal they made to Boris Johnson. They both sought to be exchanged in return for Viktor Medvedchuk. Who is this person? Medvedchuk is the leader of Ukrainian Choice, a political organization known to be pro-Russia. Since May 2021, he has been under house arrest. Ukraine is using him for its own propaganda. It's airing videos of Medvedchuk asking to be exchanged in return for evacuation of Ukrainian civilians from the besieged city of Mariupol. Last we checked, neither Moscow nor Kyiv had confirmed if the prisoner exchange would indeed take place, but a campaign has begun. The families of both soldiers have issued pleas to 10 Downing Street asking for help. How has 10 Downing Street responded? With a cold shoulder. Brandon Lewis, a member of Johnson's cabinet, ruled out helping the captives, stating they never should have been there. In an interview to a British news channel, he said, "We're not going to be looking at how we can help Russia. We're looking to actually ensure that the Putin regime is unsuccessful in this abhorrent invasion. They shouldn't have been there. It is an illegal act to be there. Obviously, anybody will have sympathy with somebody who has been taken hostage. But we have got to make sure that we follow the proper processes." The minister's remarks have triggered fury. British citizens are outraged at his lack of sympathy. The onus is now on Boris Johnson to respond, but last we checked, the British Prime Minister was busy dealing with the Partygate row. Bureau Report, We On, World is One.
All right, so what are your thoughts on that video, sir?
Again, I just wonder if there were not better actors available. I wonder what their budget looked like. I mean, on both sides. I mean, it could be real, right? But you know, it's the political matrix. Again, all this shit just looks so fake to me. I don't know if I was just smoking on that good, maybe too much of it, but I'm watching it and it just looks so nicely packaged. They're dressed so nice. They're speaking so well. They're getting all this airtime. Dog, I can't. They got to do a little bit better. I mean, look, you know, I'm 40 years old, right? We've been propagandized all our life. I mean, they have to do better.
So,
you can do better lighting.
So I'm curious,
you
you don't believe that they're that those are actual POWs?
To the yes, okay, I'll say yeah, I do. They are POWs. My point is that even though they are POWs, they're all being used for propaganda in like the worst way. It doesn't even seem as if their lives are in danger or that they don't give off the energy like, goddamn, I'm in prison. Really, get me out of here. Because I know my energy, if you gave me the chance to like, if I'm locked up, the other side got me, right? And they put in the camera, I could get one message out. I'm not going to sit there in front of the camera and say like, please, President. I'll be like, yo, come get me. Send somebody now. I'm ready to go home.
I mean, I do agree that their energy is kind of off for the situation. I mean, I look at it this way. They could be slightly just like, I don't know, maybe they're just that worn out. And another thing I could think is maybe the Russians aren't treating them really that badly. I mean, everybody's making it as if, oh, they're just so horrible to them and all this, and I don't think that their life is in any danger at all. It's just a matter of being a captive. Yeah, SM, they would be definitely mercenaries because these are former military UK, and they decided to do this of their own volition. Yona says Bojo the clown, which is kind of interesting. There's a couple of stories with Bojo right now going on. Russia, Ukraine, him going into India, which they covered some of that also. So yeah, sorry to interrupt, Chris.
No, you're good. Tim, you had said something early on. I'm just trying to catch it again. What'd you say? The good treatment, right? Clearly, from what we could see, right, it looks as if they are being treated okay, right, safely, etc., etc. And it looked the same way to be on the other side when they showed the propaganda video from the Ukraine side. Of course, they're going to try to make it seem that way. And that's not to convince anybody else but most of the viewers. You know what I'm saying? That's the other part. It's just so weird that everything that's happening there is just weird. That's why I kind of like been trying to stay away from it. You know, I mean, you can't leave it. I mean, obviously, we do a show, right? So you have to pay attention to it. But I think when it's all said and done, when the truth starts coming out, we're just gonna realize like this was one stage. Like they set this whole area up for this shit to go down.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as because I understand. I hear what you're saying, and like I remember like when L was part of the show, L used to just say, "Oh, well, it's all WEF," and a lot of people just take it as this is all just part of the big routine that's going on.
Correct. I mean, it's not always that, but let me say, you know, it does. People are dying. People are being uprooted. People are moving. So I don't want to. I just don't want to shit all over that. You know.
I'll say this, like for instance, what I was trying to explain to some people. Just because you see people speak at the World Economic Forum in Davos does not reflect where they are at that individual moment. It's kind of like you can have a picture of me with somebody and I might have been cool with that person at that time. Like you guys see in the intro, which I got to find a way to cut that out. But it has me, Fiorella, and Graham standing there. At that point, Fiorella and Graham, I'm sure, were cool. I was a fan of Graham's work. Now I can't stand Graham. He's probably never heard of me hardly, or doesn't remember me, whatever. But I can't stand anything that comes out of the guy's mouth. And it can be the same way with world leaders. Some of us think that World Economic Forum is like the end all be all. Like that's like you guys are like that's the top of the pyramid. And in my opinion, what I tell people is World Economic Forum isn't close to the top of the pyramid. It is just something which all the leaders are involved in. It's not even close to the top. Says you're not the only one, Mark Saw. Thank you. I used to try to explain this, and I tried to reach out to somebody to set up an interview, which he told me it's a possibility, but you know he's tied up with a bunch of interviews. Man, why am I blanking on his name right now? Tom.
Which one?
He was just on the Convo Couch the other day. Let me pull his name up. I just wrote him not that long ago. Tom Luongo. And and I want to talk. I really want to talk to Tom Luongo because he's seeing things very similar to the way I see things. A lot of people think that China is in the same boat with the whole World Economic Forum, and everything is just all marching to this perfectly, engineered. For one, it's never that clean. They haven't worked it out to that level yet. Two, in all of these things, everybody doesn't benefit equally. And so whenever you have a situation where everybody doesn't benefit equally, it leaves for bitterness to grow within certain people. Now, if every nation on the planet decided, yes, we forever want to be subservient to the U.S. and always take the U.S. shit and always have to be kowtow to the U.S. And the U.S. gets to take most of our profits and we just sit back and be little bitches. Then, yes, I would agree that, yes, it's all working out just as planned. But just that simple logic of knowing that everybody doesn't work that way. So the fact that some of these nations which have been growing more power don't need to kowtow anymore, it leads me to have a hard time believing that they're still kowtowing. I mean, I look at a lot of Glory says studying the WEF can help as an indicator for what's coming, as well as seeing the narrative management. But if the WEF didn't exist, all this shit would be still happening. Yes, a lot of this shit would still be happening because technology and corporations lead to the direction of different things. Now, there is, and all of this stuff, everything is nuanced. Corporations have a certain hand to play in this. National, and I think for Americans, it's harder for us to see because, like Tom Luongo was saying, everything is transactional. Even like the way we vote. Hey, I want X, so you do X. So we want our politicians to go in, Medicare for all, this and that, stop the wars, whatever it may be. We want X, we're looking for a return. Whereas in some of these other nations, and I've seen it firsthand, they don't think about their nation or country the same way we do. Most Americans are just like, hey, I just want to be able to provide for my family, have, clean air and water and this and that. And it's more focused in how the family, how the family itself unit is able to survive in this society. Whereas these other nations, some of them have an intense loyalty for national identity and culture. And I think that we often don't factor that in. China has a lot of pride in their nation, in their culture. Russia has a lot of pride in their nation, their culture. India has a lot of pride. There's many nations which the national, that's the reason why, like, when people talk about national and socialists, it doesn't ring the same way to them over in their countries as it does to us. We see governments for actions that they cause. In America, capitalism is horrible because they've used capitalism as a weapon. We see, nationalism and socialism as evil because we've seen how the results of what those people have done who were in those systems. It's kind of that same mentality of, if a black person steals something, then black people are bad, and just equating this person or this system for negatives of it, not necessarily tying in the intricacies of this person or this person in this system is, doing their own different things. There's capitalism all around the world. They don't all act the same. There's socialism all around the world. They don't all act the same. There's people who call themselves communism. They don't all act the same. Yes, our nationalism is bad, John, definitely. I know I got off topic a little bit there. I honestly feel like, and also, this is where the propaganda part comes in my mind. Is that the first response that those guys given? Or did they tell them, no, you're going to say it this way, and then we will put this out to the media? If you're a captive, you don't control your message, how it comes out. So we don't know how many messages came out. We don't know if they were threatened to have to say it in the manner. So, I think that's also another part of it. But do I think that that's what's going on? Definitely. Do I believe that the captives are actual real captives? Yes, because I believe we not only have mercenaries from the West that are going over there, I believe NATO is sending in troops. And I believe there are NATO bases which are sending help in. Glory says, especially when nationalism served as a significant counter to Western imperialism, like Pan-Arabianism and Pan-Africanism. Yeah, I mean, I think it's so complex, some of these different things. Yipper says, what about all of the American this and American that politicians do? That's why we talk about is bad. Marcus, you just hate America. You damn right I do. I ain't even gonna lie. You damn right I do. America can.
Marcus, you no, you're just funny. As it relates to what's going on in Europe, oh, matter of fact, did you see your girl Nina Turner, her blue and yellow? Like she was like, like she was a Warriors fan all of a sudden, sticking with the basketball.
Warriors fan.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
we just gonna say, it's playoffs, so she wants to support Golden State. But off the jokes, so the picture of her in the Ukraine get up. I bet there are American soldiers there. Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
They all signed up. They're giving out a lot of money. Some of them went over there for some. Some of them went over there to get their nut off.
Well, let's see. Yeah, and remind me, I got some thoughts on this Nina Turner shit. Definitely. I was like, should I? Because I was thinking about earlier in the week. I was like, should I cover the Nina Turner stuff or should I not cover it? And if I cover it, is that going to be looked at as, loosely attacking other people for their positions on it? I hope they don't take it this way when I say what I have to say about it.
So we just call a spade, dog. It's nothing personal.
Yeah, it's nothing personal.
You got people running for office, right? They stake in positions. They're making claims. They're saying what they're for. They're stating what they're against. But unless you're blind, you're watching shit as it's unfolding in front of you, right? And you can just see, all right, this is funneling people right into the Democratic Party. You're just going to be a louder member of the Democratic Party, but it's funneling them right into there. They're not building anything outside of that. So there's no need to really even.
Well, see, my commentary. See, my commentary
about it.
My commentary leads to even trying to build something outside of it.
Yeah, I mean, what she say? Somebody hear me? What's her catchphrase?
What was it? Yeah,
what is it?
Let us
hello,
know
somebody.
Hello, somebody.
Yeah, hello, somebody. Like, yo, she's playing you. Hello, somebody. I'm just saying, no offense, Miss Turner. I like your energy and all that. You seem like a nice person, but just stop. You know what I mean?
Jira says, hate the system, not the players. No, I hate the system and the motherfucking players. Fuck them all. That's my mindset. Nina Turner.
That's even like the Amazon guys, right? I just see it online. He's what's he doing? Didn't he invite Bernie or AOC or somebody to some of his next?
Speaking of that, you hear that? They leaking information about Bernie saying that if Biden doesn't run, he might look at running in 2024.
So now they have something good to say about him now.
Man, they rehashing the Bernie is the oh, did I see Tina in here? Hey Tina. I see Signs is in there. Hey Signs.
Signs.
Yeah, that's what it is. Hello, somebody. Well, yeah. As she says hello, somebody, I say goodbye, motherfucker. That's what I say.
That's what I'm saying. Like, again, and no disrespect, you know what I mean? Like, you doing what you do, I don't have to subscribe or buy into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just passing through it. I'm watching you do what it is that most of you who look like us do, who get into that space, unfortunately.
Say thank you, Warren, for the translation from Uma. It says, but it's like the transition of the era. Like without kings and countries' borders, there are kings and countries, kings and country boundaries. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we still what I try to tell people is, You think beating capitalism and switching to a new system is going to change something when the powers that be who have the bulk of the money are still in motherfucking place? You haven't gotten rid of them, so you can't get rid of the system. And what I try to explain to people is we went from feudalism to kings and queens. We left from that to republics. We left from that, republics and Caesars. Then you leave from that to representative democracies. You leave from that into, okay, we're going to just have regular democracy over here in America. And then you have over here the rise of communism. Then you have, it devolves a little into socialism. It's the same fucking people controlling all this shit. It ain't changed. And if anybody thinks, was that Chris?
The whole time.
The whole time. Exactly. Like Daman says here. It's a hydra. These bloodlines run deep. I mean, the Kennedys were part of democracy as JFK was a president, and then his family were part of feudalism when part of them were royalty. It's the same people. It's not changing. And so some of the commentary which I've heard on Nina Turner, which I love a lot of the people who said this, and I hope they do not take any of this stuff personally. But this is just the way I see it. It doesn't matter if Nina Turner ran as a Democrat. It doesn't matter if Nina Turner runs as an independent. It doesn't matter if Nina Turner runs as a green, a brown, a blue, a purple, or whatever the hell you want her to run as. This system is a system built on corruption. Every bit of it is built on corruption. So even if you get one person in there who's not a Democrat or not a whatever, it doesn't matter because that one person ain't overthrowing the system. What do you see with the people who get in there who have somewhat of an independent streak in them? Either they get pushed into a corner, they get pushed out, or they get some kind of charges. They get whatever, it doesn't matter, by hook or by crook. They do not let you go in and change the system. So we got people are like, well, it's about, if you get rid of the wealthy people. Well, you can't play this game without the wealth. If that was the case, then average Joes, there would have been some average Joes being politicians a long time ago. You better believe they tried. But if you don't have the money, you don't get what? You don't get the TV time. You don't get the press coverage. You don't have the money to go around and get your name out, because getting elected, the main part of getting elected is name ID. If you don't have money, you got to go to somebody to get money to put your name out there. And so that means you're beholden to that person. Already the system is collapsed on top of itself already. And here's what it is. People's like, I think it was what Kyle Kalinske said something about being nihilist. No, it's not about being nihilist. It's about being fucking smart. It's about being smart and knowing what the hell is going on. If you still want to believe in the fucking Easter Bunny, then keep believing in the fucking Easter Bunny. But come on, let's start being smart enough to pay attention to what the hell is going on. And then you can do other things. You can try to do, let's grow our own food. Let's do this. Let's try to start our own businesses and co-ops. Let's try to do all these other things. But if you still
that's what I mean. That, and it's a lot. It's easier said than done, right?
Rigged.
Oh, rigged. Exactly. Yeah. The whole thing is
you're not the only one.
It's even look. Even let's use Florida as the example, right? Florida's going to come up not so much for the Disney shit they just did, but for the new maps they use, the redistricting maps.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in the area you used to live up in Jacksonville. I think they're losing like 2.
That shit is ridiculous.
Now hold on.
Don't know that area. Go on ahead, but I'll let them understand. I'll try to explain that area for them.
And it was the black members of the legislature, showed up there. They had some stupid saying. I can't even remember, like "stop black pain" or "stop black law." Some bullshit they was screaming. I hear you say nothing. I haven't seen you guys be active. I haven't seen you in the street, heard your name, seen a tweet, nothing. Now all of a sudden this map comes along. Now you're screaming about how it's disenfranchising black folks. Again, to me, how I see it, quite honestly, Marcus, emotional manipulation for November. Oh my God, look, they're doing something to black people again. Come vote for us, please. Or don't let more Republicans take over. It's so nasty how they, and the thing is, you can't even tell people like, yo, they emotionally manipulating you. Just relax. Actually, just pay it no mind. You're still gonna get the same shitty developers in your neighborhood. The taxes are still gonna be the big guys with the bread still gonna get the tax cuts, right? Reform the genocidal slave empire, make it genocide slave better. Correct. So, you know, with that being said, you're still going to get screwed over whether you vote with 50,000 more black people in your district or 50,000 less black people in your district. The outcome's still going to be the same. So I would just urge people, like, don't even worry about it. Matter of fact, you shouldn't even be participating in the system, quite honestly. That makes them, that is at least gives them, the powers that be, some kind of tool to say, look, we're relevant. Look how many people believe in this shit. If you just left it alone, because you're not going to go inside and fight that machine, as you said earlier, essentially. You're not going to go inside with the good ideas, get more good people in there, and we're going to turn this thing right around. No, that's not how it works. And if that was the case, it would have happened a long time ago. So you can't shoot at it. So you can't get it from inside. You can't bust at it and take it down that way. You can't burn it all down, right? As much as you would like to. But what you can do is separate yourself from it.
Yes,
in the best way possible.
That's what you have to do. Separate yourself from it and show the system, I don't need you. And I know this sounds silly to people, but part of the whole thing about the system is the system needs people voting. Now I know people are like, well, why do they need people? Listen to me for a second. The reason why they need exactly validation when you're dealing with vain people who want total control, they also want to look like, see, we have a system that's fair. I mean, people are voting. If everybody tunes out and is like, dude, it doesn't even fucking matter. You're gonna do what y'all want to do anyway. Then it calls question on the system. The illusion of inclusion. Perfectly said. It gives legitimacy. Exactly. In North Florida, where I used to live, the politician there was Corrine Brown. I don't know if you remember Corrine Brown, yeah. Chris. Yeah, yep. we everybody in all black people in Florida knew who Corrine Brown was, no matter where you live. Well, Corrine Brown intentionally, her district covered what should have been an area for at least what more than likely would have been 4 black politicians. She intentionally went along with the gerrymandering so that she can be that one vote. Now, what that does in the state legislature is you just cut out 3 extra black votes that could have went to getting some black shit done. But because you wanted more prestige, you were fine with helping the Republicans neuter your people. And she was corrupt as hell. But I mean, that goes back to this whole Joe Biden thing. Well, vote for, we gotta get the Voting Rights Act passed. For what? Even if we vote for you, you don't do shit we ask you to do. So what's the fucking point?
That's my whole point. Like, with the whole redistricting thing here in Florida with the new map, you know, DeSantis had, there were 2 maps presented to DeSantis that he, you know, basically said, get this shit out my face. You know, we'll go with the one I created. So essentially they used now it's probably going to be called the DeSantis map. You know, they'll brand it somehow.
That's what they're calling it.
Yeah. So they'll call it the DeSantis map. And the way it was drawn, there's like two less black districts in, I think it's like northeast Florida in that section, right? And as I said, the districts are a little bit smaller, so they're just basically trying to say their vote has less weight now. I mean, what was it like before when they had more weight?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
This question was for us. It says, "Will corrupt local governments spend one's untaxed dollars more efficiently?" They don't do anything efficient. That's why they're local government officials. Their goal is to be there and not do anything. That's the reason why you still have the homelessness problem, which is growing and growing and growing. That's the reason why you still have so many. I mean, when I was in Jacksonville, they were fighting over, this is how inefficient these governments are. You got a school that is about 70% black. You can't even in I would say maybe a quarter of the councilmen who were in that area were black. You can't even get the name of a school changed that's literally named after one of the heads and founders of the KKK. I'm talking about Nathan Bedford Forrest. Yeah, shout out to Duval County. Nathan Bedford Forrest. Yona must be over in that area. I didn't know Yona was over there. Yeah, I used to live in Jacksonville. And that's what we're talking about. The corruption. And I mean, think about it. Kasharma Sawant, they dropped $1 million in her election to make sure, okay, we got this little do-gooder who wants to come in here and try to do some shit. Let's go shut her ass down. Let's go sit her down. And that's what they did. Even if you have good intentions, they ain't letting you get through.
You know, I saw a comment in there about the housing market. Yeah. I mean, that's what they should be really focusing on here because it's crazy. I mean, you know, I'm in the market for one myself, and it's incredible just to see, like, and I know quite a few people who are in the same rat race, right? Trying to purchase a home at the moment, a property, whatever. What they come in with from up north is just ridiculous. Straight cash. It doesn't matter. Your credit could be great. Somebody's coming with a whole lot of cash and they're paying like ridiculous amounts above what the asking price is. And we're just seeing just madness. The people who have been here for some time, we're looking at a property and that's that's before the rates. We didn't even get to that part yet.
Yeah,
but just
before
the
rates, yeah.
Yeah, that's before the rate increase. We're just looking at the sticker numbers. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at it. The people who've been here, we're looking at it like, well, that's a little too high. Somebody else is coming in paying $40,000 over it, cash. It's messing it up big time.
I recommend y'all check out. Ali just did a stream the other day, a couple of days ago, and she was going into that because I don't know if y'all know in the real job, because most of us we have day jobs. She deals with this stuff and firsthand, and Chris deals with a lot of this shit too.
I was just gonna say, and this is affecting a lot of different price points. I know some people who are in the $2 million range looking to purchase. I know people in the $500,000 or $600,000 range. I know people whose houses are worth numbers around there, right? In terms of what they could get for it if they sell it. They're all saying the same thing. Great, I'll make a lot of money on the sale, but where am I going to live? Because everything is up. So imagine your house your house was valued 2 years ago, let's say like $400,000. You're getting offers now for close to $700,000. If you have no mortgage on it, you're just paying for the upkeep on the house. That's a lot of money that you're gonna put in your pocket. Once you have your closing costs and everything, taxes paid and all the fees and everything, you're still gonna walk away with a lot of bread in your pocket. Even $500,000-$600,000 cash is tough to find a place here in South Florida anyway. Other parts of Florida is different, but it's just I've never seen anything like it, and I've been here for some time.
Sure, yeah. I mean, out here in Florida, where I'm at, yeah, I don't even want to go into that.
That's ridiculous in California,
especially northern California. You start getting up there, it gets ridiculous, and that's the reason. And I found that's the reason why we have such a disparity between the so-called left and some of the other, older so-called leftists. I mean, they bought their house, many of them, in the 90s, early 2000s, when stuff was a little bit more affordable. And what has happened is through equity, their equity is skyrocketed. And so it's great if you already had a house. And that's the reason why you have a lot of people who are out here who work, what is that? I can't think of what it's called. Working remote. The people who work remote. A lot of them are like, so I can keep my Cali job, keep my Cali money, and then go to like Florida,
Texas,
wherever, Tennessee, Mississippi, and just buy
Montana,
acres on top of acres on top of acres.
Compared to what they have now.
I mean, I know people who they bought their house for $200,000 in like mid 90s. The house is going for almost $1 million right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I look in the hood. I mean, in the hood off of Martin Luther King Boulevard type shit, right? Black folk, when we say MLK, probably across the country, that's the hood. At least here in the South, it is.
No, everywhere there's an MLK, it's the fucking hood.
I mean, that's kind of messed up, but it is what it is.
Right?
Like,
hey, we're gonna name the street MLK and then put the niggas over there.
And that shit gonna be rough. but anyway, with that being said, even the houses in that neighborhood, even that's up ridiculous. So I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything like this.
Out here in Long Beach, Long Beach, I'm talking about a lot of the poor areas, like where like Snoop and all them were at. Man, that area is being just like how Harlem, what they're doing with Harlem, what they're doing with like Cabrini Green in Chicago. They're doing the same thing out there. They're buying up all those areas. And it's kind of funny to me, 25 years ago now, I was telling everybody, yo, if you got property in like downtown KCK, buy up all that shit. Both of them are correct. Exactly. Yona, SM.
Look.
Never in the burbs, right, John? Never. I mean,
never.
I don't even know if they got an MLK Street in Utah, let alone Salt Lake. I mean, it's very sad. I've seen houses here in Florida that sold for $100K 10 to 15 years ago that are now $350,000. Yeah, out here, if it was $100K 10, 15 years ago, that house is 500, 600 to 700. Easy.
I know San Francisco must be. I know San Francisco was like.
Let's not even talk San Francisco.
I know. I went the last time I went there. I was just like, God damn, there's a lot of homeless people out here. Yona just said, "Does Ukraine have an MLK Boulevard?" You know what? Probably wherever Zelensky is right now, since he wants to keep talking about "I have a dream" and shit. So yeah, they probably put the street sign, in front on the green screen wherever he's at, But
man, I bet you Zelensky. You know how you can have those like custom signs to your neighborhood. Man, Zelensky got probably everybody's tragedy street named, on his little property. He probably got an MLK. He got a
Mandela.
He got a Nelson Mandela Parkway. I mean, he got a Mao Zedong, place. I mean, that dude probably got everything.
Reagan. Yo, oh, you know what? Since we talking, I don't know, just something made me think of it. Yo, who's worse, like Reagan or Biden? And I'm not talking about how they govern. I'm saying like
You're
who
talking
looked
about
more
totality?
brain dead? No, who looked more brain dead?
Oh, Biden.
Okay.
Biden by far. I mean, the thing about it is, Reagan, you can tell Reagan was still coming off the cuff with shit.
Okay.
Reagan would get up there and they'd be talking some shit and he'd be like, and we'll excuse my opponent's young age. He was still throwing his jabs. And
I don't know, Lavin second term Reagan.
Second term Reagan, but I mean, second term Reagan is first term Biden.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I brought it up. It's a conversation at work yesterday, and I mean, this guy is just shaking. He's talking to ghosts right in front of us.
I agree. That man was like, he came off the stage. He was like, President Lincoln, did I have a good speech? I did, didn't I? I mean, that dude, I don't know where he is. He is literally like, it's like his mind is time traveling and his body is just still sitting there. I don't know, maybe Dr. Strange hit him and knocked his body out, knocked his spirit out.
Yeah, knocked his soul out, his physical, right?
Mm-hmm. He was like Spider-Man, still moving and shit. But that's what's going on with him.
But he just looks horrible each time I see him. And I don't go and look for him for Biden, right? I'm not I'm not so much a masochist that I go and sit and watch him speak, right? I like pain. He is still in that basement. I mean,
Biden,
not all pain is bad, but watching Biden is just ridiculous. Exactly, comatose.
Oh man,
I mean, the name is fitting. I just said that because Biden looks like he's.
I love that name, DJ Comatose. That's nice. Let me see. Oh, I got the other one. Let me bring up this one because we all know about what was going on last week, right? With the Al-Aqsa Mosque and all those things, right? That was going on in Israel. You familiar? All the crazy stuff that was going on. They always starting some shit.
Always. And I was to the audience real quick, Marcus.
Yeah.
To the audience, I wasn't asking about Reagan or Biden in terms of being president. I was just purely talking about their mental state and their ability to like hold it together for the short amount of time that they appear on camera. Biden looks as if he's totally lost all the time. All the time. It never looks good. I just wonder when, one of his kids are gonna, or not his kids, well, one of his grandkids, maybe somebody young, and be like, Grandpa, come sit down. Because
I had the same experience Wesley did. Wesley said, I signed up for the Air Force while Carter was president and ended up serving my tour under Reagan like a bad joke. Same shit. I signed mine under Clinton and ended up serving most of my shit under Bush. In fact, if that's not bad enough, I literally had to build up a set stage and be a prop for George Bush. If I could dig that photo, let me know. I'll start going on to the next subject, and y'all can let me know in the chat. If you guys want to see that photo, I'll dig it out. I'll send it to Chris and let him put it up on the screen. But if y'all want to see that photo, like literally me back in my Navy days, sitting behind bitch ass Bush, looking at him like, I can't believe we had to do this bullshit. That's literally what's going on in my mind. But let me know if y'all want to see that photo. I'll dig it out.
You know how we always talk about, Biden, don't leave him around kids, etc. He's a nasty old man. You know what? Probably now would be the safest time to have kids around him because he's so out of it that he wouldn't even know what to do. Like he would probably be sitting at the table like, feed me tea or some shit like that. That's how much I really think he's gone. Like his his caretaker could be like a trained 6-year-old, quite honestly, and they would have nothing to fear because I think he's that.
They say share the pic or it didn't happen. SM says yes, share it. So I guess I gotta share the pic. Had to sell the Bradley. The Senators meet Joe back then. They all suck. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing about it, and I tell people, I get not seeing it in the early 2000s. I get not seeing it in the 90s. I get not seeing it in the 80s. But if you can't see this shit now, I don't know. I think you're a lost cause if you can't see this shit right now. Yona says he did it under the old Bush.
No, them kids will karate chop his old ass so quick. What? Maybe like I watch Power Rangers. Ah! Like nah.
All right, let me
done.
I'll share this. I'll share this video real quick, and then I will dig that photo out while the video's playing.
What did he say on the campaign? I was in the pool, hair on legs, and I learned about roaches.
You know, I got that on my other channel. I clipped together like a whole montage of like just cringe-worthy Biden statements. I mean, y'all let me know if y'all want to see that too. I might dig it out, whatever. I mean, I did put in the description and other. We'll still hit our topics, but this is some good other shit to get to sometimes. Let's see. This is what we got going on. Oh, I guess I pulled it up twice. Oh, that's why, because I was going to pull up the one before just in case. But here is what is going on. This one's from one day ago.
Our next story is from Israel, which remains on the edge. Tensions are rising along the Gaza Strip. There are recurring attacks in Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem is in the grip of unrest. I'll start with Gaza. On Wednesday night, Palestinian militants fired a volley of rockets into Israel. Who was behind this attack? Hamas, the biggest militant group in Palestine.
Let's guess.
No one knows.
Didn't hit anybody.
Some say it was the result of
hit an empty field
between Israelis and Palestinians. Remember, on the 11th
now we
of
got to
April,
show the
Hamas
people
had
underneath
warned
on the
Israel
floor.
if
I mean,
the
the basement.
unrest in Jerusalem did not stop, it would unleash attacks on the Jewish state. Listen to this.
الشعب الفلسطيني قرر المواجهة حتى رحيل هذا الاحتلال، كما أن الشعب الفلسطيني يحاول أن يعد العدة ويراكم القوة من أجل معركة التحرير الكاملة على العدو الصهيوني أن يعد العدة والخطط.
You look a little like an elf, right?
لأننا قادمون.
We are coming, warned Hamas. This week, it has executed the warning and its actions have not gone unanswered. During Thursday midnight, Israel retaliated. It launched airstrikes on Gaza to send a message to Palestinians. It apparently targeted a military post and a tunnel complex, which Israel says contained raw chemicals for rocket engines. Reports say this was the biggest escalation since the 11-day war last year. And from the looks of it, it's only set to get worse. Courtesy, the unrest in Jerusalem. For the last 3 weeks, it has been witnessing violent protests, clashes, and attacks. The flashpoint came last Friday when the violence reached the Al-Aqsa Mosque, a site revered by both Jews and Muslims. Last Friday, over 150 Palestinians were left injured in a violent face-off with the Israeli security forces. Today, something similar happened. There was violence at the Al-Aqsa compound. The Palestinians clashed with the Israeli police. Over 31 people were left injured. 14 were taken to the hospital. 2 of them had serious injuries. What was the trigger? Like always, the answer depends on who you ask. Israeli police saying the Palestinians attacked first, that they hurled rocks and fireworks towards the Western Wall where a Jewish ceremony was underway. The Palestinians saying the attack started only after the Israeli police blocked worshippers from entering the mosque. They say some worshippers were arbitrarily stopped at checkpoints, and this apparently led to violence.
التسهيلات هذا كله كذب There is no ease. It's a lie. There is no ease. They only announced in media outlets, but in reality, they banned women and elderly people because they don't have permits.
As you know, the Israeli forces set up more than 100 roadblocks on the way to Al-Aqsa compound. They reinforce security at checkpoints and blocked our scout members, even though they have permits from the occupation force to be able to serve fasting people.
So where are things headed? It's tough to say. It's been more than 3 weeks and the violence has not stopped. Almost every Friday, there are clashes followed by protests and eventually attacks. This is followed by an Israeli retaliation. It tightens restrictions further, cracks down on protesters, and unleashes rocket attacks. It has become an endless cycle of sorts. The United Nations has issued a statement. It says it is deeply concerned with the developments, that if tensions are not resolved in the days ahead, the situation could spiral out of control. The Prime Minister of Israel says he is trying his best to diffuse tensions. In fact, in a recent interview, he went on to state that when Palestinians don't attack, Israel has no issues with them. The Palestinians say such statements are hogwash, that Israel's actions speak otherwise. They accuse Israel of trying to curb their religious freedom. They complain about unwarranted restrictions on them during Ramzan and call Israel's security checks draconian. So getting back to the question, where are things headed? From the looks of it, the situation seems similar to 2021. Around the same time last year, the tensions erupted and led to an all-out confrontation. Going by how the situation is getting worse this time as well, we might just see a rerun of 2021. We are now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.
All right. So your thoughts, sir?
I mean, I guess it was just on schedule, right? Every so often we have to have the little mini flare up there, which basically is Israel saying that they were attacked, and we get to see what their reaction is. We get to see them in their G.I. Joe shit. We get to see them abuse the Palestinians. We get to see them, take their property. Basically we humiliate them in all sorts of ways. We get to see it on camera. I think they just have this on like an auto payment, right? I don't know, maybe you pay your car insurance or your car note, or you may pay something and just have it automatically come out your bank account. It just seems like every few months we have this situation happening. Nothing's going to stop it, unfortunately. Well,
No,
the only
nothing
thing that
is going to stop it.
in reality, the only thing that could stop it, though, is if there were no support from the United States. But we know what that would be.
No, that wouldn't even stop it. That wouldn't even stop it, because you got they don't even.
Well, I mean, at least
because you got to remember,
at least you can talk to some people at that point in time, right?
You got to remember,
you have a lot of
they
people
don't. They literally don't need the money the U.S. is sending them. They literally don't
at all.
At all. This is just like, I don't know. It's like
they do all their own research. They keep the shit to themselves. They build their weapons. They have their systems.
Their economy, literally the amount of money that their economy brings in is far more than enough to sustain all of their shit. I mean,
Correct.
People think about it like Israel is not like they don't have corporations there. They don't have billion dollar corporations. There are plenty of $1 billion corporations all over Israel. They do not need the U.S.'s money. Also, there are plenty of billionaires who live in Israel and plenty of money throughout Israel. That is not the problem. I see Lady Alex is here. I want to say a special hello to Ruby. I saw Ruby slide in here also.
What's up, guys? Welcome.
Yes, that money pays for national health care, LOL. Yeah, they don't need our damn money to keep doing what they're doing.
Don't need anything.
All they need is the threat that the U.S. will step in if any
Correct.
of the surrounding neighbors decided to attack them. So if Hamas attacks them, if the Palestinians from the Gaza
Hezbollah.
Strips want to throw some damn rocks and float some balloons that might burn up a field out in the middle of nowhere, if they do that, then okay, all right. But if Iran decides that they wanted to start getting pissed off and come at their ass, they got to have the U.S. there, because that Iron Dome ain't stopping what Israel got. I mean, what Iran has. And if they had to fight Iran, that shit might go a little bit differently. And if Iran got involved with fighting them, other nations would get involved. What I see is a gradual escalation. And I know we see it flares up every couple of months, because what they're doing, it's kind of like not Need for Speed, but Grand Theft Auto. You're out there running around doing crimes and stealing this and robbing that and committing murders and all that. And then at a certain point, your stars start getting a little too high, and then the heat increases, and then you start getting pushback. And then they're like, all right, settle down. And then wait for them stars to go back down. And then they start up doing the same shit over and over and over until they get to the point where they have completely taken it all. I wouldn't, at this rate, the way they're going, by next Ramadan, I would not be surprised if they have completely pushed all of the Palestinians, out of Sheikh Jarrah. Or and then it won't be even called Sheikh Jarrah anymore. It's going to be called Temple Mount at that point. That's where this is going. Now, Naftali Bennett has been losing a lot of favor. And I think what it is a lot of people thought he was going to be able to come in and lay the hammer like he was planning on, like he was talking before he went in there. And the fact that they saw that he's kind of become just another Netanyahu, which I'm not saying Netanyahu was good, but he's realized he realized that people are not cool with us doing this. And I thought that I could just hop into power and do what I've been talking about, and everybody's going to be perfectly cool with it. And he's realizing he's getting a lot more pushback than he thought he was going to get. And so he's had to dial it back. But the problem is the Zionists within Israel, they don't think like that. They think that they can just do whatever the hell they want to, and there's going to be no pushback from anybody. Like, everybody's going to be cool with it. And that's where the issue is coming. Sadly, I think a lot of people will be shocked when this economy implodes. It's close. It is coming. That's the reason why I saw Franco put out earlier about people growing their food, which I'm a little upset with him. He didn't reach out to me. He should know I'm a jack of all trades. I know a little bit about everything, and I know some stuff about growing some food too. So shame on you, Franco. But all seriousness, I'm glad he's out there doing it, because people need to start figuring out how they can do more for themselves and supply and stand alone, because we're going to start seeing famines coming. We're going to start seeing more shortages coming. So just keep all those things in mind. Thomas says Israel is encroaching on Palestinians' land, much like the U.S. did to the natives and still does. What they're doing is they're just doing it inch by inch by inch by inch until they take it all. That's their goal. I mean, look at a map from 1967 up till now. And like, I remember I got some pushback from some people and they got pissed off about it. But I showed the map from 1967 up to, I think at that time, it was 2021. And I showed what happened from the 1490s up until, was it like the 1950s? And I showed how you see the same damn thing. Says Marcus, did you catch all the food processing plant events? Not sure what you mean by did I catch them? Processing. No, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So no, I guess I didn't catch them. Israel. Kelly says at Dale, Israel really, really, really wants us to beat up on Iran. So far that there hasn't been impetuous to go there. Maybe some sort of black flag on the horizon. I could definitely see that. And I know Iran normally says stuff, and they normally talk very hawkish. You don't see very much actions. but they've laid out yet another warning. And I feel like if they keep on messing with these people and keep ignoring these warnings, you can't be surprised and upset at the consequences. It's kind of like if let's take a random person. It's like Kelly out there. I keep like say we're in class together, kids, and I keep yanking on Kelly's hair. And Kelly's like, stop yanking my hair. I just keep doing it anyway. And then Kelly turns around and slaps the shit out of me. I can't be surprised when Kelly slaps me because I've been doing something she's told me not to repeatedly. And so there's always a reaction, for every action. And Putin has said the same thing. He said, U.S., y'all better stop sending them all of that shit. You keep sending them all that shit, we're about to have a problem. Now, when somebody speaks vague to you like that, you need to be worried because you don't really know what that might mean. You don't, and what I've noticed about Russia is you can't predict what the hell they're going to actually do. So you shouldn't assume that it's a threat you don't have to take. Just like what I was saying before with Iran. Iran just said, if Israel moves on them in another aggressive manner, in any kind of combat way, it's about to be a problem. Now, what they said this time around, that's and I don't know who I need to tell in this room. I'm pretty sure everybody in this chat knows this, but let's remember, Israel every 5 minutes is capping off some Israeli scientists. And literally a lot of times admitting to doing it and come up with their own reasons without ever showing us the evidence. Oh, well, this person was doing nuclear weapons, blah, 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 blah. How do you know that? No, they're never going to show us. But it's kind of like a crooked cop saying, well, I shot, it was a clean shoot, but doesn't want to show us the dash cam or we can see the person didn't have nothing in their hands. Israel, I see them as exactly the same. Let me see some of these comments. Overall meat. Oh, that's right. Somebody responds to me about that. DJ Comatose. Chicken and pork processing plants were tainted in 2020. At the Political Matrix, they had to shut down because of the massive COVID outbreaks. Yes, they did. Yep, you have that. I've heard about just shortages in general. Ruby Curl says, example, Mike Tyson on the plane. Yeah. Anybody who fucks with Mike Tyson, I wonder, is your mental health okay? It's just that's not a wise move ever. And then not to mention not only the processing plants being down, the supply chains has been an issue.
Well, they got did you see that story that I think they're referring to about the food processing plants?
No, not sure.
No, I think they're talking because a bunch of them caught fire. And it's a lot of them caught fire. And within the last, what is it? I think that chick Grace did a breakdown of it. I can't remember her name, but I'll give her props. That's why I saw it. I
Grace,
think from
see,
April.
Y'all see that? He don't be sharing his sources with me. See that? I always share my sources.
Jalen,
you sharing me nothing.
I thought Jalen sent that to you too.
He did. I'm just.
Oh, okay.
I forgot.
Okay, yeah.
It's been a busy week. Sorry,
it's
been a busy week.
That's what I'm saying. There's been a bunch of so much shit anyway.
And we've been doing a lot of. We've been all over the place.
Yeah, from last year to April, actually, just like even 2 days ago, there's fires at all these meat processing, plants. It's just weird, And my question was, as I watched it, well, how many fires broke out at facilities like this years prior? I think she only went back to 2019, and there had been maybe 2 fires or something to that effect. But like I said, it's a lot, within the last year. And again,
yeah. Oh, there's Baba Yaga right there. saying it. Yep.
It's something like that. Yeah.
You know what? I would have been completely fooled if I had to guess. I would have thought Baba Yaga was a man, but I'm surprised. Not a good thing or a bad thing. Just sometimes, like, you assume. That's why they say you don't assume. You make an ass out of you and me.
No, I go with my man Sam Jackson from Long Kiss Goodnight. He says, "Don't make assumptions. You make an ass out of you and umption."
I thought you was gonna go with the other one. My other favorite line from that movie. You remember when he's talking about being Frank? If y'all don't remember the movie, at the very end, he's on Larry King, and he's like, "You know, Larry, I like to be frank and earnest with my women. In New York, I'm frank, and in Chicago, I'm earnest."
I'm earnest.
And I see Independent Left. Oh, I forgot about it. Independent Left will be joining us at some point. He had to spend a little date night with the wifey. So we appreciate that, he'll find the time, which if he can't make it in, that's all right. We gotta show that love for our significant others, and they do have to sacrifice a lot with us, being on quite often. So, shout out to all the Mr. and Mrs. out there who have a partner who's doing content creating. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Marcus, I want to address a comment that SM made earlier in the chat.
Sure.
She said something to the effect of a lot of right-wing channels are covering the food processing story. I mean, we've seen that over the past several years, where so much stuff gets ignored just because a lot of these idiots, because a lot of these people see something from somebody that they disagree with politically.
You can't be listening to those right wingers.
Correct. And you just miss the entire story. You didn't look into it, even for you to tear it down yourself, right? Using facts. Okay, here's a story they're presenting on the quote right side. Let me at least look into it, so now when I hear it, I can speak to it with some authority and not just use it's right wing. I can ignore it. They're so dumb. But with that being said, that is how the narrative control and brainwashing, all of that shit plays, its part.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to put a Thomas comment up here. It says, as a former wildland firefighter, I'm seeing more and bigger wildfires today than I did 10 years ago. Back then, 30,000 acre fires were big, but now they're getting over 100,000 acres, which is normal now. So yeah, I've got to keep that in mind. A lot of things that are changing. And share this from DJ Comatose. It says, at Independent Left News is how I found out about this stream. So thanks. Yeah, big shout out to Independent Left News, who's in the chat with us now. Independent Left News, I thank him because Independent Left News did not have to, reach out to us about streaming on their Rockfin channel, which we are on Rockfin also, on the Indie Rockfin, Indie News Rockfin. So please make sure to give that a follow over there also. And I forgot to put my phone onto the Rockfin, because I normally just go and watch it afterwards on there to give it the extra view. But I'm probably have to have Chris just pull it up and just have it running. That way he can be able to follow those comments over there too. But yeah, big shout out to them. I mean, with the way YouTube runs a lot of things, I mean, I was just looking at something. I'm wondering, should I pull it up so I can show you guys just... Oh, yeah, that's right. Speaking of showing them. Chris, why don't you put that picture up so they can see that old school classic picture of me in my military days.
I was just putting it up.
It says JB and RBN is how I found out. Nice. Shout out to JB. You see this guy right here? That's me.
I
Yeah.
would say this is you, right? With the glasses.
Yeah, that's me. That's me with those like wire rim looking glasses. I was definitely not enjoying that speech. And I tuned out like 4 times. Like you want to know what I was doing most of the time? Literally, I was counting the snipers. I was like, oh, there's one there. There's one there. Oh shit, I can see that one over there. There's another one over there. I'll tell you, that day I saw more than probably. Oh yeah, there's the close up. I saw maybe about a good, I want to say 20 snipers that they had watching out for piece of shit Bushy. I mean, no, that wasn't that one. Marcus, why did you join the military? I joined the military for multiple reasons. Back then, I didn't know the things I know now. That's one. But for 2, once I had some knee injuries and I knew I wasn't going to be going on a sports scholarship like I planned, and also I didn't take school serious at the time. So I just did enough to get past, even though I could have done more. I knew I wasn't going to go on an academic scholarship. My mom didn't have the money to be able to send us to school growing up in a single parent household. So I was drilled into my head at that time. The only way you can make it in society is you have to go to college. I also had a very military family. I was Air Force Junior ROTC also. So a lot of it was kind of, I was already being geared toward that pathway along with Boy Scouts I did before that. So a lot of that was pushing me in that pathway. And then I was also only shown the good side of the military. I was shown the travel and, all the cool stuff on base. And you're not showed any of the, that we're really doing a lot of fucked up shit. And then also at my high school, we had a lot of refugees from Kosovo, Bosnia, and Albania. And so when you have kids your own age telling you about all the horrible shit Milosevic is doing, it gives you the impression that the U.S. is actually helping. So it makes a difference, especially at that age. Because, I mean, I went in and I signed all my paperwork in 98. In 98, most 17, 18-year-olds, there was no way for them to get the information that 17, 18-year-olds are getting now to know how screwed up the military is. And if you didn't have a parent who was telling you the shitty stuff that they were doing, then you wouldn't have known either. I mean, most didn't know. And Wesley's correct. Recruiters are very persuasive. Was that the mission accomplished pressure? No, that wasn't. This was like some time after. Yeah, this was some time after. What else? Yes, recruiters. I mean, literally, the Navy recruiters were literally everywhere. They were at the mall, like I said the other day. They were at the mall like pedophiles. I mean, they were all over looking for high school kids. I mean, they literally came to all of our ROTC banquets and stuff like that. I mean, and they were just literally everywhere. And for people who are roughly my age, we were told, if you don't go to college, your life is basically not going to amount to shit. Am I right or wrong, Chris? Because you're 40, I'm 41. If you didn't go to college, we were told you're not going to go anywhere in your life.
Yeah, that was it. You're gonna be shit. You know what I'm saying? You was gonna be on you're gonna be on welfare. You're gonna be working you're gonna be flipping burgers at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. Or you're never gonna get out the hood, and you're gonna end up just being a gang member. You're gonna stay in this hood forever. And for those who don't know it, I mean, I know sometimes people say I have kind of a proper sounding voice, but mistake you not, I grew up in the hood. I literally had, before I graduated, I had probably about maybe 12, 13 friends who died of gun violence. So I mean, I grew up in rough neighborhoods. My county, my senior year of high school, literally led the country in teen pregnancy per capita.
Damn.
My city literally for about 4 years was considered the meth lab capital of the world. So that's where they go. They go to the poor, impoverished neighborhoods, and they, like a vulture, you know, take these people who are in compromised positions, i.e., people like me. So that was the biggest reason why I went. The college, Daman says, I think the push for college was a debt scam. It was, because
I mean, especially if they're pushing you to just get liberal arts degrees, right? You know, those are okay. Fine, you can write nice, and you probably have nice penmanship, and you know you've read a couple history books. But in the real world, in practical terms, is some of that useful? I mean, yeah, of course, but it's not going to earn you what you need to, you know, move up. You know, just because you know you're really good at theory, you know a lot of theory, you know, it's not going to get you anywhere.
And when I did go to college eventually, I went, of course, this should be no surprise for most people, but I guess I'll start at the beginning. I started off with business administration. So my first 2 years, I did business administration till they told me about how much freaking math I was going to have to do. And I was like, all right, bump that. And so I switched over.
Poli-sci was one of those things too. Like,
yeah, I did history, secondary
it
education.
sounded good, didn't it? Political science. Like,
That's what I was doing.
What is that? Ooh.
I was doing history and minoring in political science.
Yeah.
And Daman says, and now I'm making candles. Wow. And that reminds me, one of my funnest summer jobs I ever had. If anybody goes to Kansas City, it's this place called Worlds of Fun. I worked there for like one summer, or I don't even know if I even like worked there the full summer. Maybe it was a couple of weekends in a row or some shit like that. And I worked literally in the candle shop. One of the sweetest, funnest things ever. Okay, Rockfin turned on now. Cool. What's this? I still have scars on my face from the pox lesions to remind me. One of these days I want to get together with Wesley. If you're down for coming on, and I would like to get John and a couple of other veterans and just talk about some of the shit that we've experienced in the military that, you know, a lot of people don't know about it. All right, Lady Alex Tim is going over to Rockfin. Okay, good. Anybody else who was going over to Rockfin, let us know. Make sure to give a thumbs up when you get over there, please. How about a VA nurse? It's nothing wrong being a VA nurse. See, people from the hood, res, and trailer parks have the highest per capita military service. Marcus said they seek a way to pay for college and trade. They want to escape poverty. No lies detected there. That's exactly what they do.
And you know, given that the people from those communities, most likely their parents don't own businesses, or maybe there's one or two, you know, small numbers who might do so, right? But they don't go to their dad or their mom's job. Indy, what's going on, man? Good day.
Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, I am on the political matrix. I am green, so it's perfectly fitting.
It fits entirely.
What's going on? I love it.
You hopped in at a good time, because we still got a couple of really fun stories that I think you're gonna get a little chuckle out of.
Beautiful.
So far, I don't. What'd you guys go do? Let us know a little bit, some deets about the date night.
All right, so we got the babysitter. First of all, you know, I got 3 little kids at home, so the babysitter alone is a big thing. It's the first time I think in about 5 months that we've had a date night out, so that was real nice. So we got a nice dinner at a restaurant, and then from there we went to a bar, and they had some live music playing, some like 80s, 90s rock kind of mix. You know, it was awesome. Just nice to get out and see life. No mess anywhere, which of course is great to see and everywhere.
Oh, and DJ Comatose says at Indie Left News, smoking in the Matrix. Hey, trust me, if I could get away with it, I would be right there too. I mean, because this is what I tell people a lot of times. I want people to always mention this. When you guys talk about legalizing it on the federal level, you cannot leave out the part.
Damn, me and
about
Kelly.
it.
Sorry, Marcus. Kelly and I think so much alike because I was listening to Indy's story. I'm waiting for him to say, like, we went to the bar and, you know, we went back home. You know, I was waiting for, you know, the climax.
Dude, we got the babysitter here. Come on. The climax is after the Matrix.
Exactly. I'm like, y'all,
Okay, good.
y'all be thinking different than me. You got to put the kids to bed first.
Oh, no, the kids are long down. Babysitter got the kids down, came home, it was quiet. No, wife's going upstairs. She's relaxing. I'm coming down here to hang with my boys for a little bit. And then we're gonna, you know, drink a cup of coffee, check out some news, see what's going on, and then later on we'll go have some fun.
You got to do it, Bernie, because he's like, what? Because see, that's what it is. You're not thinking in that married mind no more. Like how Bernie Mac said, you got to steal the booty. That's what you do. You wait till she goes to sleep, and then you start sliding the little panties down, and she gonna help you. You know, that little bend, and then you get down past the ankles or whatever. She's like, "Boy, what you doing? You know what I'm doing."
No, it all starts with the back rub. See, that's the key. Starts with the back rub. You don't even have to worry about it. She takes care of that.
And then if you really want to hammer it down, you do the back rub with a little kisses on the back of the neck at the same time.
Right?
Yeah. I can't be giving out the secrets now.
See, now he's dropping knowledge on the single brothers.
Hey, you're gonna find out that I'm not as innocent as I be coming across as sometimes. But that last point I wanted to say is when you guys push for this federal legalization, you got to remember the urinalysis and drug testing part on the jobs. That part is key because it's legal out here in California. But you know how many freaking jobs test you?
Ew.
Now, do they test
Are they still
you?
testing?
Yeah.
Are you removed as a candidate for the
A lot of
position?
times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, because they got so many people that'll test negative anyway that they don't need to. But you know, from a lot of the companies, actually, it's one of the things that I check out before I even apply is are they testing? Because if they're testing, it's just not even worth anybody's
It's not even
time.
worth it. Yeah, I get
Nope.
it. And a lot of jobs I've worked out here, they're like, damn, I thought I had somebody, and but he failed the urinalysis or he failed the and it depends on which place. Like when I was working at Home Depot, they do the mouth swab, and the mouth swab, it all you got to do is stop for literally a couple of days. Stop for a couple of days.
You know, it's
there's
you
some
know
other,
it's always messed
there's some
up.
other secrets too.
You know, Marcus, I wanted to say for the smokers, it's always kind of messed up, right? Because you can be a wild ass alcoholic and you know you just don't drink for a little bit, go take a test, you're fine. You know, you could like putting stuff up your nose every weekend and you stop for a couple of days, you go take that test, you're fine. You can pop all the fucking pills you want. Hey, look at my script. But when it comes to the plant, it's like, damn, I ain't smoked. It's the 30th. I haven't smoked since the 3rd. But I'm
Dude, it
still
would take me
showing
90
up.
days. Yeah, it'd take me 90 days to clean out. Seriously.
I was one of those people too.
I don't think I'll never be.
No, I won't. I'm with you, son. I'm with you, bro. Chris, I'm done.
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna find a job. I'm gonna find a gig. I'm gonna find something that will allow me to continue to do what I want to do.
To do what we do. Correct.
Yeah, when I did, I'm telling you, I'm like one of those where 3 times a day easily, like, all right, let it be a Saturday. It's probably 4 times a day. and at the same time, I'm still productive. That's the thing. I would still be like studying. I'd be listening to like lectures from Khalid Muhammad, and like, damn, he breaking some shit down right there. Let me fire up another one.
Yeah, seriously, I'm 18 hours a day. I work like nonstop. I'm like this all day, every day. I just took a bong hit a half hour ago. Like,
yeah,
it's just Just mood adjuster. That's all it is. I'm just an
That's
angry,
all it is.
angry dude when I'm not. I'm still productive, but I'm just angry. Now it takes the edge off, and now I'm happy.
Well, that's how I am too. I mean, so people wonder why I get like they'll be like Marcus Rage. That's why I'm Marcus Rage. Because I'll be like, that patience goes real thin being sober, and I'm not really a drinker like that. So
No.
I don't.
No,
I
it's
don't
just family
enjoy it.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it. John said, I just made some dabs. Oh shit.
Oh, now we're getting serious. Now we're talking.
I'm gonna tell you guys a secret because I know most people won't catch this. Like employers, they ain't watching this shit, or if they are watching this
there's
shit,
a lot of
If they're watching this,
they're down already. But
either they're down or you're not getting that job.
Yeah. Well, if they do the mouth swab, because when I tell you guys I worked a lot of jobs, a lot of different places, I mean that shit. I worked for True Green. I mean, that's one of the places, but I was gonna say, I worked for Quest Diagnostics at their headquarters in Lenexa, Kansas. For the mouth swab, and part of my job was what I did was I processed the urinalysis and blood samples for them to test, which they test a lot of these different hospitals. And so what you want to do to pass the mouth swab is, for one, don't keep it on the side of your jaw the whole time like they tell you. Slide that shit to the inside of your mouth as frequently as possible. Another thing, 3, eat something spicy as hell before. So those so the juices and toxins from that heat throws off. It's like an inhibitor and blocks the THC. A lot of times. So if you're doing a little bit of that, I've known people who have literally smoked that damn morning, did that, and passed the mouth swab test. So yes, I worked for Evil Quest. Thomas said something. What was that? Said Marcus Rage, or damn it, Marcus is happy when he's drunk too, though. I mean, if I get myself drunk, I just feel like shit once I start sobering up.
Drunkle. Come on, Drunkle's funny. That was definitely a funny evening.
The one where which was the one where I
was Warren on, or was Glory Jones on? I know that there was one of them. Oh my god, that was just hilarious.
Did you see the one when we went on Warren's show and we had the Political Matrix on there, and I was pretty blitzed on that one. I was pretty blitzed on that one.
I'm talking about the one where you dialed in from the wedding.
Oh yeah, I was pretty lit. Hello, I see doom and gloom in the building. What's up? She said, hello, Midwesterner. I'm a proud Midwesterner. Man, I tell people the Midwest got a lot of shit on sneak, which a lot of people don't realize. Like for me, since I've lived in so many different places, I look at it as every place got some cool shit about it that you can only get in that place. That's the secret to why everybody lives every fucking where. Because there's something that's in that place that you cannot get in. Like, say, for instance, there's some shit in Denver that you can do and have there that you can't do anywhere else. Just throwing that out there as a weird example.
Indy, I have a question for you, since you do a lot of that aggregation shit, right?
Sure. Shoot.
What are the parts of the coverage that you see from the left? What are the parts of it you don't like? Because you see a lot, right? So I would take your opinion for some things like this, and I don't want you to pick on anyone specifically. I'm more or less talking like the top,
at an aggregate. Right? No, I feel you. I think that there's a lot of one of the things, especially being a Jewish guy, there's a ton of anti-Israel stuff because they're doing awful stuff to the Palestinian people. There are also a lot of Jewish people that are doing good things, and I don't think that the left does enough to shout out and amplify that. Maybe there are, and then there's almost like a narrative of the day that kind of gets set up. In a way, I almost see it like there are a few stories that end up filtering down, and then everybody ends up talking about them. But is it necessarily what we should be talking. I don't know. Sometimes I just see like everybody focused on one specific story or one specific angle of a story, and I'm saying, okay, we're missing, for example, Ukraine. A lot of people are really not talking about the gas pipeline at all, and how important and the effect of the gas, the Nord Stream 2 had on why all of this is happening, as well as the BRICS alliance. And not enough people are talking about the BRICS alliance that was forming, years before all of this started, and that this is only a moment in time in a timeline that started a long time ago. So, I don't think enough people are providing that kind of perspective. And again, that's why we've got Indie News Network, and we're doing indie news, independent news now, and we got so many different shows. How do we miss that? So we're trying to cover all these things and bring additional stories. I think a lot of people are still not focused on the corruption at the top, exactly who they are, and calling out the names. A guy named Judd Legume from Popular Information, he's great at like following up. The corporations do what they say they're going to do, and I don't think there's really enough people that are following the money. I can name who they are on maybe two hands that are really, really good and consistent at following the money and following what the big billion-dollar corporations are doing, who they're investing in politician-wise, who they're buying off, and what kind of legislation they're trying to have passed through ALEC. There are so many angles, and again, it's really shock and awe at the left in so many ways because we don't have enough resources to pay attention to all of it. So everybody has their angles. Everybody has the things that they pay attention to. And collectively, somebody needs to call attention to some of these other things too. And that's where I can fill a gap. That's where I find people who fill gaps. And again, I just find that there is a big lack of outreach to the Jewish people that are against what Israel's doing to the Palestinian people.
I try to reach out to them, but they don't like to come on my show.
Dude, you got one of them right here, first of all.
We got one. We got one here.
I know we got. I mean, I'm just talking about in general. And
I know.
Before, like I was interacting with you, I didn't even know that you were Jewish until Shabbat came up. Not Shabbat, Pesach. I mean,
right, Pesach. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Passover. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I've talked about this. Well, I was talking about this with a former friend about having a panel, and one of the other people who I've talked to, they still want to have this panel, Ali Alexandra, about having a separation and letting people know that there's a difference between Jewish people as a whole and Zionism, and trying to really make that separation. When people like me criticize Zionism, I'm criticizing Zionist, not criticizing Jewish people.
Yep.
There's that difference.
Obviously
it's not recognized.
But for political reasons, they made the two get married, right? If you criticize Zionists, that automatically means that you're criticizing Jewish people. That was a devious, diabolical, and genius move all at the same time, because then it puts everybody in a funny space when the topic comes up.
Yeah. Yep. Tying religion to nationality is always tricky.
And politics, yeah.
100%.
Well, going back to real quick, Marcus, going back to what you said, Indy, I feel like a lot of the independent space, obviously not many of us have been doing this for 15 years, 20 years,
Yeah, me
a
either.
lot of us are just starting out. Like, these are conversations everybody in the chat has with all their friends. And, we're just doing it on camera too. We're not different from anybody here. With that being said, they're still stuck within the confines of the Democrats and the Republicans. They're starting to get away from it a little bit, but they're very much still looking at the world through that lens. And
I'm gonna get some coffee. I'll be right back.
Yep. Two-party politics. Absolutely. Agreed.
And it's difficult to listen to certain things sometimes because they're still covering it and they're still getting upset. Oh, Glory, whatever, Glory. But most of them, not all. And again, that's not a dig at anybody. I don't want anybody to feel funny or but there's a lot of other topics that can be covered. And unfortunately, a lot of them, going back to an earlier point, they won't touch certain things because it's called right wing. That's not smart.
Oh, well, I heard you talking about the factories that were getting attacked. That where there were a ton of fires.
Burning down.
I saw,
Yeah.
Quaker anarchist was tagging me in tweets today about it. I really have. Again, I've kind of been checked out a little bit today, so I haven't had much time to plug in and look into what's going on. But I try to, again, part of the independent people, they look at the left and they forget the word independent. The first thing is that I'm trying to be independent of party, first of all, but also independent of the ideology and the narrative and the bubble that we end up placing ourselves in very often, at least to listen to what the other side is saying and take that in as a data point, even to debunk it, but listen to it and understand it.
Correct. They to do that just seems so difficult for people on one side or the other. If they were just to relax and get off that, I think Varian said it, like my team versus your team bullshit. You would see there's common things going on. You would see that actually it's the only thing that's real is the WWF, right? In that they're pretending to be fighting, they're pretending to be adversaries, they're pretending to fight, but behind the scenes, like they're all going to have beers and laugh at how much money they made at the gate that night. Oof. It's important to then look at who's controlling the gate.
Yeah. 100%, man. And that's that again, focused on follow the money. That's what I love, what I focused on quite, shout out to Steve from Slow News Day. Glory's in the chat, I see. That's one of the things they do, and they try to follow it even months before most people are looking for it, coming from those sources. I give them credit because, again, 6 months ahead, usually on average. But yes, I actually did try to take a day off today, Glory. Come on, stop giving me crap. I'm tweeting with everybody, but I didn't publish a news thing today. I didn't publish a Substack. I cut a Jesse Jet thing because he did an awesome spoken word Bernie 2024 thing, and I was like, oh, we have to get that out. So we put that out today. But
another question for you, Indy. Given that you do cover a lot of this stuff, how much do you think the people in this space and some of their followers, based on what you've seen, would be interested or worked up or happy or excited about the thought of a Bernie Sanders running for president again?
Our space, like the real left space, is not at all. No, there's almost zero appetite, and everybody's like, no, like God. He's already gotten trounced twice and given in to his good friend Joe. So what's he got left at 80 plus years old at this point, except to shepherd? Look, again, Jesse Jet wrote a spoken word piece on this that absolutely rips the cover off of this, and it's just a shepherding effort at that point. We all know what he's going to do. Okay, they're going to, even if he got any momentum, they would move heaven and earth to stop him, and they know that he would just push him back to the Democratic Party because Trump.
And that's how I feel about most Black commentators, like in the mainstream space. That's all they exist for. And even some of them who are used to be mainstream, like a Roland Martin type shit. Those people exist only to keep Black folks in the Democratic Party fold. And also, I think the focus figures like a Candace Owens, for instance, she comes to mind. She's hyped up not so much because she says dumb shit, but she's also used to tell other Black people, don't align with what they got going over there. Stay over here. We don't talk like that. We won't talk to you like that, etc., etc. But I hate to say it. Everybody who knows me know I hate to say this, but you know, some of the things she says, like, I just separate the words from her because I really can't stand her. I mean, I'm glad she's getting her hair done now. She looks a lot better. But some of the things she says are correct and do need to be looked at a little bit further, right? I would like to see more discussion like that on this side of the spectrum, if you will. I'm not seeing that as it relates to that. I'm just seeing, correct, Dom, she is a broken clock. I just like some of the topics that she'll take and amplify that are already there. And I love to see the left's response to it. They almost never talk about what the actual topic is. They just run and go and attack her. So I see there's problems all over the place in this space and trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah, I wanted to throw in there. I mean, a lot of that pipe stream, we followed a lot of that too. It's just that we kind of put it out there, and then once it's out there, okay, we got to move on to the next thing, because I find that what we try to do, I guess, since we're never really following the narrative, we'll catch stuff here and there, and then just keep it moving on whatever stories we feel are important, no matter if it's following a narrative of what everybody else is talking about. So I was gonna ask, because I'm even still hearing, I mean, I know they, I guess, because I remember hearing one of the interviews when you were on with Misty, and you said, yeah, I came from the shit lib
Exactly.
lane, and
UIT lane, yeah.
Yeah, and I was one, and my thing is, I don't ask you that to begrudge you in any way, because at a certain time I listened to TYT. I feel like a lot of us did. I tell you that I used to be I was a Bernie supporter. I was an Obama campaign volunteer. Like, I literally made phone calls and door knocked for Obama. I supported John Edwards before that, and so.
Wow.
I mean, I literally was a Democrat. And so I made the evolution from there to this point. So I was wondering, like, what made you have that evolution and change?
Oh man, there's a couple of people that I directly credit, and one of them is Richard Medhurst, who helped wake me up to a lot of the struggle. But also some of the people at RBN, when they were still FHL. I would definitely call Nick and Jay Buffon and Sabby Sabs for sure. And Afeni, my God, she's just absolute straight fire. And watching her get out there and with a megaphone and just do it a whole different way and bring in a conversation that people weren't having about mutual aid. Watching TYT ignore what happened with Assange changed a lot of my perspective, and basically I was done with them at that point. Watching them ignore while Richard was in the gallery at the Old Bailey every day, running out to his computer to report on everything that happened because he couldn't write it all down fast enough, and they didn't want to know from it one bit. And it was as insulting as anything to me as a fan of theirs, and pushing this in their Slack and telling them, hey guys, you need to pay attention to what's going on here. And they just flat out ignored me. And I'm like, fuck you guys. You guys are clowns. Not only that, you're also probably being, that's when I realized that it's why. Okay. It's because they are an operative of the Democratic Party. Their only goal is to funnel people towards the Democratic Party, to dismiss the Green Party, to dismiss and stifle and kill any third-party efforts, and to shepherd and try to harness the energy of the youth and the left and push it towards a Democratic Party. Then we saw Force to Vote, which was just an absolute culmination of all of that, and everybody ripped the cover off themselves, and little by little, one by one, we've started seeing who these people are, one by one. And then you had
we have to
go ahead.
And we have to add COVID in with that too. Let's look. Marcus and I were talking about that for quite some time, saying there was a lot of funny money shit going on there. No one wanted. I'm not saying no one, but some of the bigger channels in this space, they really didn't want to go after it. You know.
Oh
in
no,
that
definitely
way.
not. They were afraid to, because they knew that they were going to get censored, or they could lose their channel, or they could lose their form of income, and they didn't have alternate streams set up on different platforms and a different way to harness their audience. And they all got smart and figured out a way to do that and get around it. Look, the one of the guys I credit with this, again, as a Jewish guy standing out strongly against Palestine, and whose father is a Democratic Party operative, Max Blumenthal, my goodness, has been just remarkable to me in the last 2 or 3 years, and one of the leaders out there in our space that doesn't get enough credit, and he gets attacked and smeared constantly for speaking truth to power on a daily basis, and nobody gets it right 100%, and Max doesn't either. And look, nobody expects anyone to get it right 100%, but his hit rate is phenomenally high. And I just adore the guy because he puts himself out there on a daily basis. You know, he's got a family now, and he continues to report unflinchingly, unfailingly, and unapologetically. I just, I give that guy all the credit with Gray Zone, and he's been calling out. And look, it took him a while to come around on the COVID thing, and I think, again, credit to Whitney Webb, and she's another one who changed a lot of my thinking on a lot of things. But these are the people that I started to listen to in mid 2020 that really led me to understand exactly where we were in the space, who was actually speaking the truth, and who was covering for either the establishment or big corporations without even realizing that they were doing it. They were literally useful idiots. But
that's a
again,
point that I'm glad you mentioned, and I wanted to jump on that point because that's where I feel like some of the people in our lane, what I don't believe they're getting. I think that a lot of people, and I'll call you out, Chris. I think that like my brother Chris here, they believe that these people really do know it, and they're just intentionally going against the narrative. I think that they're just that slow, that they don't get it. I really do believe that a lot of these people don't get it. It's not that they're maliciously trying to push the COVID narrative, and they secretly know that it's all BS. I think that
they don't think it's true.
Get it.
No, I don't think they think it's true. I think they honestly believe the Democratic Party narratives.
That's what I'm saying. I think that they completely swallow whole. It's kind of like how everybody says, well, CNN is BS. And then if CNN does some kind of breaking news, then they all believe that. They all drop that, oh, CNN is BS, and go right back to believing all of the Democratic spin.
Right? Yeah, but honestly, there's a person in our space, and I'm not gonna name his name, but someone who goes out to Flint and does an awful lot of reporting out there, and and people want to hate on him, and every time he goes out, and he does one good report, he'll go out and interview someone. It's like, damn it, come on back in, and they just put their arm around him, and it's like, dude,
I'll name him. You know why?
I know.
You know
I
why
know you're
I'll
gonna
name
name
him? Because
I basically named him anyway.
The reason why I'll name him is because I came to him with a story that needed to get to a bigger platform than mine. Me and Chris, what has this been, like close to a year now, Chris, when we broke about the scandals that were going on in the KCK police department? It took for Rock Nation to get involved, for everybody to all of a sudden start paying attention to it. We were the only one that would talk about it. And I literally reached out to him, and he was like, well, if I have time to get to it. Well, you only care about this Flint thing, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, but this is a situation where I feel like in this space, you got to be able to juggle more than one thing. You got to be able to walk and chew gum, and he will get so tunnel vision on his narrative only. Just like, I have issues, and for guys, you don't know who I'm talking about. We're talking about Jordan Charlatan. That's what I call him. My words. I feel like he's a charlatan. I feel like he's just out there for the money. Oh yeah, I'm brutal with it.
Shots fired.
Mr. Status Quo. Yeah, him, who's going to tell you, well, Trump is so bad, so I know you don't like it, but got to suck it up and go for Biden. He's going to tell you guys to do that same shit. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't vote for any damn body. I'm just so cynical. I'll say it that way. I don't believe any of these people are going to do shit. That's where I am.
Let me read a line that the brilliant, my friend Jesse Jett wrote literally like yesterday morning. So it's a funny story that happened. You know, this whole thing about Bernie 2024 started to come up, and Lucy was going to do a stream. Lucy, Blue Moon Red Wine, love her. She's a member of Any News Network also. So Lucy was going to do a stream, and she says to Jesse, hey, you think you could write something like about it? And he's like, give me a little time. And 3 hours later, he writes this entire amazing spoken word piece. And at the end, he writes, voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. And I went, oh, holy shit.
Yep, that's what it is.
Fucking genius. I love that dude.
Ooh, I like this one on Keeps It Crypto. It says, voting for, I like that name, Keeps It Crypto 369. Voting for Knobs, just a placeholder. Joe's a placeholder. Trump didn't want to be president. The market crashed. Wait for it on the map. Map up blood 2024. He wins. Market rallies off. Get your bangs up. No, what's going to happen is it doesn't matter if it's Trump. It doesn't matter if it's Biden. It doesn't matter which one of these skeletons, these octogenarians, well, they're not octogenarians, but pretty damn close. Doesn't matter who you get into. They're all bought and paid for and going to do the same damn thing. Biden came in and he spoke a little bit differently, but Biden has how many Trump policies has he kept in place? That's what Democrats don't pay attention to. He's kept a lot of the Bush.
Almost all of them.
Exactly. He's kept a lot of the same Trump policy. If you go back to Obama, did Obama not continue all the damn foreign policy shit that Bush did?
Most of
these people.
And then we're not going to look. We're not going to look backward. We're going to look forward. Come on.
You got to look backwards. If you can't look backwards, you can't see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, if you were screaming war crimes, you know, leading up to the 2008 election.
Yep.
The next people that come in, you want them to do something about these war crimes, right? They tell you, as Indy just said, let's look forward, not backward. I mean, that should have told you right then and there. I mean,
Ruby, that's just our opinion.
Yeah, there were so many signs, but really, when they say let's look forward, not backward, like, oh, okay, you go steal something. Go steal something for Target right now. And then turn around and tell the people, well, look forward, not backward. You're going to fucking jail. And we're talking about something on the level of like illegally invading Iraq and, you know, destroying large parts of that country, destroying hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives, you know, in the region. And you say, let's go forward. Yeah. Someone should have punched Obama in his face for that.
I just didn't understand. But again, look, Citigroup and Goldman, they picked his cabinet. He picked Geithner. He picked Paulson. He went with the bankers, and that told us exactly how he was going to govern. And then, you know, they had a supermajority and couldn't get anything more than a Republican healthcare plan passed, and that told us even more. And on top of that, he had the largest obstruction in the history of the country coming from lockstep the Republican Party in a way that nobody had ever seen in the history of the country before. Really, like they all did literally say, we're not going to give him one single win, even if it gives us a win, even if it fucking tanks the country, we're not giving that motherfucker a win. Let's call it for what it was. That happened. That really did happen.
You know, it did, but we also have to say too that you didn't push forth anything that would have gotten the people at least out in the street, right?
Yep. He gave up that whole mailing list, that whole 2008 campaign. We were ready to run through a brick wall when he got in there, and he said, a lot of people and he just put it in his pocket. And he's like, "I got the people, and I got this."
And
it's the same. It's the same thing with AOC.
Well,
AOC could use her platform too.
Why isn't she organizing protests daily? Why isn't she doing press conferences daily? Why isn't she? Well, look, I know the question was rhetorical because we all know what the answer already has been, because her actions have spoken and screamed at us for over, for 2.5 to almost 3 years, almost 4 years now. I mean, look, it's sad. And you know what, Ed, I want to address the People's Party. People's Party ain't shit. People's Party is going nowhere anyway. And I'm not talking about it because it's a dead issue. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people that still want to talk about it. It's the Nick Brana Party. And as long as it's the Nick Brana Party, I'm not talking about it. I'm not covering it. And it's a non-story. Sorry. I'm going to drop that right there.
Oh, there we go. Give him that fire back. This is what, and Ed always hops in. He always does this in our chat. Ed, if you don't know this about me and Chris, we are not a part of anybody's party. It don't matter if it's Democratic, Republican, People's Party, DSA. We don't give a shit about none of the parties. None of them. The reason
because
why
the electoral system is rigged. Because the entire the voting system is rigged. Until you fix the machines, until you have true transparency, until you don't have most of the poll workers being 85 years old because they're on Social Security, they're retired, they're the only people that can show up at the polls and sit there all day. Let's call it for what it is. They don't know how to work the equipment most of the time. All right,
and I tell people, let's play this game. Okay, let's say you get People's Party or DSA or Green or whatever you want. Let's say you get 50 of them in this next race into the House. What's going to change? They're not going to have power because Pelosi, even if whether it's Pelosi who would be the minority leader,
McCarthy, right,
or McCarthy, you're not getting shit. You're not getting none of your bills to the floor, and it's not getting through the Senate. And then even if you did even get it to that point, no president is signing none of your bills into fucking law. I don't know why this isn't clicking for you people.
No, they're there to be obstructionists, totally, to say no to the Republicans and the Democrats. That's what they would be there to do. Okay. And yeah, we'll try to pass some of our stuff. Okay. But we can't count on them to push our agenda through when it completely is counter to the capitalist agenda and to all the donors that are funding the Republicans and the Democrats.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think people get this. It's like
all the same. Even let's go back to what was that? I think it was February 21, was it? Or maybe it was 20. After they had the meeting about COVID and all the senators and Congress people got busted, buying the preferred stock, selling the shit stock that was gonna crash.
Right.
I mean,
that was in February 2020, just before COVID hit. You had six senators, a couple of representatives, but Feinstein was in there. You had a couple of Republicans, and they all dumped some stuff, and they bought some other stuff. And the other thing that nobody's looking at is the kids and the brothers and the rest of the family, which is where they funnel all this shit to anyway, because they know that everybody's looking at them. Right? Nobody even talks about the kids. Yep. And that's the Hunters, the Pauls, the Christines, all of them. And they legacy this shit.
It's not the sexiest thing in the world, right? But even the information contained in the Panama Papers and the Paradise Papers, I mean, how far did we get through those, right? I don't.
Well, the Panama Papers. Why? Because those were CIA dumps. Come on, dude. Let's call that what that is. Okay, because the only people that weren't implicated in the Panama and Paradise Papers were Americans. How did that happen? It got funneled through mainstream media sources, okay, through the ICIJ, who I again used to parrot and champion and thought they were great until I figured out, oh my God, this is the best freaking intelligence front that I've ever seen, planted around news agencies all over the fucking world, and nobody's the wiser. And they're releasing these big stories, and they're exposing the world leaders. Oh yeah, that conveniently happen to be the ones that the United States wants to either get in line or get rid of.
And even to understand the processes by which it happened, right? So when you start seeing it again, when you start going down the rabbit holes of looking at, okay, who owns this company, who owns a holding company, who owns them, and so on and so forth. You wouldn't even look at that to even figure out how to properly fucking, figure out who runs what, who really runs it. Because that was the one thing that was very interesting from those papers, right? It did leave a nice paper trail as to how they go about their business and where the fuck they actually park their brand.
You know what? Since you brought that up, that reminded me of something. For those who think like, oh, we're Johnny Come Latelys and just talking about this shit. Do you know that I got videos? You know, I'm gonna just pull it up. I'm gonna show you guys. For those who like Signs is gonna remember this. Kelly will remember this. Chris might even remember this. This was a while ago though. But this is from my other channel, What We've Been Thinking. Look at the title of this. Now, I grabbed myself with a horrible look on my face.
Oh, look at the stash. Look at the stash.
Yeah. So this was me 2 years ago.
Then Marcus, you got a bunch of different looks, kid. I wish.
All the different looks I always have, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have none of that. The police gonna be able to find me all the time.
If I show you my IDs, like my California license, my Kansas license, my Florida license, every one of them looks different. And then I show you like my veterans ID card. I'm telling you, some of my pictures, I'll be like, damn, how do I look that different in these pictures when it's just a year time frame? How much I change in a year. Gain weight, lose weight. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in my head, I'm secretly an agent to my own secret organization, and I'm reporting to myself and don't know that I'm doing it. But here, I'm gonna play just a little bit of this and tell me, guys, if any of this sounds familiar with what we've been talking about so far.
That's what I'm saying, Gipper.
But the truth is, these are the kind of things which she's been doing pretty much her whole career. And it's just now that it's starting to finally catch up with some of these people. We have people like Senator James Inhofe, a Republican of Oklahoma. We have Senator David Perdue, Republican of Georgia, which I've covered and noticed this guy for many, many years, well before I was doing any kind of commenting on politics on a certain platform. But people like Representative Rob Whitman, a Republican of Virginia, Representative Scott Peters, Democrat of California. And if you guys think that this is the end of the list,
There we go. There's just a little bit of a little taste.
Dude, you got the snowball. You got Jim Mountain Inhofe with the snowball. I love it, bro. You dropped the snowball. Where he literally brought the snowball into the Senate and said, "This is climate change." I'll never forget that as long as I live. That's great. But yeah, and then you nailed David Perdue, who ended up resigning in disgrace. You got Scott Peters, who I believe ended up resigning in disgrace. Okay, yeah, no, Anthony Mackie. That's right. Gloria was like, "Is that Falcon? Was that Falcon?"
Yeah,
I hear that so often. In fact, I'm probably pull off the glasses and then you guys tell me, do I still, now that I've gained a little bit and I got the beard, do I still look like him?
Sure. Not as much as in the old video, but still, you're pretty good.
I'm a little bit bigger than he is too. Like he's like what, maybe 5. I think he's like 5'8", 5. No, I think he's 5'9". He might be 5'11". I don't know. And I'm 6 foot.
Kelly, whatever.
He's like 150, 160. Right now, I'm about 250. So 100 pounds heavier than him. So makes a difference.
No, it's not the same Purdue chicken though. No, it's a different Purdue family. That's Frank Purdue. No, David Perdue. They're the people that lost to. That's the one that lost to Raphael Warnock, right?
Yep, out of Georgia.
Or did he lose to Ossoff? I think he lost to Ossoff.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, and
it was also corrupt.
You know how everybody has been talking about? Oh well, maybe we should do a law, and the politicians can't. All this the Stock Act stuff. I was talking about the. Yeah, it might say that according to Google, but it's all a lie. They always lie up on actors' height. I've seen plenty of these people in person. They're not as tall as they say they are.
Marcus, he 5'7".
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. A lot of these people, they lie up on their heights. But I've been talking about the politicians should not be able to invest in stocks and their family and close members for more than like 15 years. And now I'm hearing people starting to, oh, well, maybe there's, that should have been fucking obvious a long time ago.
Not only stocks, but sitting on boards of the companies either. Board seats.
Correct.
Okay, because board seats pay you shitloads of money for doing very little.
And you can do
your influence and name.
And you can also sit on multiple boards.
Oh, they all do that. Yeah, they have 3, 4, 5 board seats, and they go to 3 board meetings a month that they have all expenses paid to go and show up at if they have to show up in person, or it's just a Zoom call. Literally, you just dial into. Like, I can do a Zoom call and be a board member, but their key is their connections and their influence and their name and who they are, and that's why they're put there. And it's basically a big payoff. And yeah.
Oh, I wanted to throw this in real quick too, because I'm gonna ask you this question. I wonder if you know, how did Pelosi even get her inroads into politics, and who are the people who helped boost her into politics? Do you know, Indy?
That was back in the 90s. That was back in the 90s. What's that?
I was just singing the song. He said, "Who got her in it?" I said, "Stunting like my daddy." The baby in Lil Wayne song. Y'all remember it?
Right?
Yeah,
it's legacy. Yeah, it's family.
But who was okay then, Chris? Then who was her daddy?
No, go ahead.
Who? Well, her daddy was a governor of Baltimore or mayor. I think he was a mayor, Baltimore.
1 and 2.
And then might have been a governor too. But who got them their inroads? The Kennedys.
What a shock.
She used to babysit
right.
some of the Kennedys.
John F. Kennedy Jr., I believe.
It's shit's all tied together. None of these people who get to these positions got there from some kind of hard work and gumption and all this shit like this. All of these people who get to these positions are all put there. That's exactly. It's all in who you know. That's the reason why.
And then she became, in her own right, she became a great money getter too. She's
because
good.
She was already connected in with all the powerful elites.
You mean a shakedown artist? That's what I would call her.
Correct.
She's a shakedown artist. Okay.
She's great at it. She's great at it because.
Well, straight gangster.
Like when people say like, "Oh, don't worry." What did he say? What did Christian Bale and Batman say? He said, "With fundraisers for friends like mine, you only need one," or something to that effect. She's the type when she makes a phone call, the money's gonna come.
Yes,
she is she knows how to move the bread.
Well, not just the money, but think about what happened at MSNBC in the last 2 weeks of February 2020. All right, you had the presidential primary for the Democratic Party happening. Bernie Sanders was cleaning up, and all the momentum was heading toward that. After Nevada, especially, then you had a massive freak out. And Nancy Pelosi basically got on the phone with these guys and said, "Look, you better make sure that a Democrat's actually the guy, or you're going to lose access to all the people in the party, and we're just going to start going to CNN. Fuck you." And what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to bend. And she knew that she had the power over them because they need their ratings. And they're not going to go Trump all the time. What are they going to do? And then she went to CNN and made the same deal and said, "I'm just going to go to CNN and I'm going to give MSNBC all my airtime." And she played them hard against each other.
And the media is completely, and I like how Katie Couric laid out how they're all in the tank, the media. Remember with the whole RBG stuff, how she released all that dirt on RBG after she died? It's like then we found out like, oh, wow, nobody knew that RBG was actually pretty kind of racist.
It's kind of racist. Had one black clerk in how many in 40 years? Yeah, but she championed for women's rights.
Well, remember the comment that she made, like the blacks are doing better than they would have been doing in their own country.
And again, the Netflix special. Right away, you had the Amazon special about RBG. Right about the time she died, to completely gloss over any narrative about her actual record and just use the Hollywood fictional version. Okay. And this is another thing that I've been talking about, Chris. You asked the question earlier, what is the left not talking about? The connection between Hollywood and the influence of movies and Hollywood. I think you've talked about actually, Marcus, quite a bit on here, like in the Marvel movies and all of the propaganda and the military apologetics that's happening and the setting up of narratives. No, and the setting up of narratives. I was just trying to gather exactly how I want to present it, but in normalizing and making it okay for atrocities and massacres to happen in certain ways because you saw it happen in a movie in the Avengers, or you saw it happen in Three Kings, or you saw it happen in this thing, and then or they gloss over or whitewash atrocities with movies as well. And again, and that changes the way people think about actual incidents.
What we like to call predictive programming.
I'm waiting for the Tulsa whitewash. That's next. You know that's coming.
Of course. It's all predictive programming. Sorry.
Just even look at Martin Luther King and how they've just taken him. I mean, they took King from fucking Alabama and Atlanta and Memphis, and now he's in Kiev with Zelensky. I had a dream. I mean, it's just disgusting, but they will co-opt everything and message the fuck out of you. Indy, you're going to your point about the left. They don't want to talk about that precisely because, of course, they see it on the right and they think that they need to run away from it. So they don't want to just have those certain discussions. But you absolutely need to, because there's a lot of people in this space who don't see it, to be quite honest. And they get really offended when you start pointing things out. Like, look at the shit they're trying to get you to believe. You should be at least aware of this and like hip to what they're doing. But they just get so offended. I swear they spend most of the time looking for ways to be offended instead of actually learning and doing something. Oh my God, you used the wrong word. I'm offended.
Yep. Literally, next is going to be, I believe there's going to be a Juneteenth movie and a Tulsa movie because people have started talking about what's happened at those massacres and what happened in those. And let me tell you something. As somebody who grew up in the Northeast, I never heard about either one of those things very much. I never heard about them in school. I was never taught about them. And I'm like ashamed and embarrassed and angry at the generation before me that made the school books for not covering it, and now determined to make sure that my kids know what happened and that does not skip this generation, because it's important.
Don't beat yourself up too much, because you got to remember who most of these textbooks come out of literally the Rockefeller Foundation authorization improvement, and so you're already getting a very slanted perspective.
Oh, and that guy that put square dancing. Did you read the story about like why we all had to do square dancing when we were growing up? It was some dude that bought off some dude and he was some wholesome dude, and he got some kind of influence with like the school, the Department of Education, and all of a sudden square dance was like required nationally across the fucking country. It was crazy. That's a gym activity. Jesus Christ.
Well, and I knew about both because my family celebrated Juneteenth since before I was born. I have a lot of family who that are from Texas, and that's where it all originated out of as far as Juneteenth. Kansas City has all kind of Juneteenth. They've been having Juneteenth celebrations for the longest that they have normally out at Swope Park. And so it's always been something I've known about. And then, not to mention, my grandparents grew up in the aftermath of Tulsa. My grandfather was born in 1924. My grandmother was born in 26 in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, which is only about maybe 45 minutes from there. So their parents were alive and like very cognizant of what the hell was going on during that time period. And then, like Daman said above, there are so many Tulsas that happen across the country that are not put into school books at all.
Yep. Asheville's another one I've learned about. How Asheville was just a burgeoning, like it was a huge port city, and it was just, and they were independent, and they had their own, the fuckers came in and burned the whole goddamn thing down. It's like Jesus, you know. So it's like, you know, that kind of shit, like, it kills me. Like, these are the wrongs we try to right. This is what we try to teach our kids. You know, is we got to learn from the history, but not ignore it and not glaze over it.
Well, see, that's the problem with the right wingers, especially with this big fear of critical race theory. See, what they don't get is in predominantly black areas, we know this history. We get embedded. We especially if you have black professors and stuff like that. They know this history, so it's being taught in our communities, and then it's not being taught in the adjacent communities around us. So what that does is when we meet somebody who has this, well, you guys should just pick yourself up by your bootstraps, and don't understand all of the things that have been against us throughout, time, because they honestly feel like, well, after slavery was over and segregation, everything was fine, right? Not realizing that you still had sundown towns in the South after segregation. You still have hangings in parts of the South to this very day. We're not talking about redlining. People don't talk about how basically now today our neighborhoods are more segregated than they were during segregation. And then people will think, well, you're on the West Coast. Well, nobody has to worry anything about West Coast. They didn't even have the South issues. Yes, they did. They have a lot of clauses that they had in towns on the West Coast where it's like, if you are a descendant of a slave or your grandmother was a descendant of a slave, you can't own property. And there's so many laws like that across this whole entire country. And so when you do, like, I'm trying to remember what his name was. Actually, it's probably better I don't mention his name. But he came on the show and he was like, well, why do we need to know this history and this history? And then he literally came out his mouth the next moment and then started telling me how he just learned about the Haitian Revolution. There's people that don't know jack about what happened with Marcus Garvey. I mean, there's so much history that's never even talked about. And if we don't talk about this history, you can't get past it. That's the reason why places like Germany are doing better with race relations than America is, because they were able to face, the sins of the Holocaust. Whether they got every detail correct or not, they at least face it and are saying, hey, we fucked up here. Our bad. Can you forgive us for our ancestors? And America does not want to do that.
Yeah. No, at least half of America doesn't want to do that. And you got a bunch of crybabies that are really just it's really because it was their ancestors that were the ones doing this, and they're embarrassed about it effectively. I mean, that's really the way that either they're embarrassed about it or they're proud about it. And they don't want everyone to know that they're proud about it, which is
That
just
part.
as bad, if not worse.
That part. Well, when I said that America doesn't want to deal with it, I'm saying the powers that be, the people who control everything in America, they don't want to change nothing. We can have allies like you, Indy. We can have allies like, for instance, my brother Steve Poikonen. We can have allies like Shadowban out there and Kelly and plenty of white people are non-blacks who are allies. But as long as you have the racism at the top of this system, wanting to keep things the way they are and never acknowledge anything, it keeps the current modus operandi in place.
Yeah. And the money train keeps on rolling. That's the other thing, is that as long as, again, I keep saying they have red and blue so they can run away with the green. It's one of my favorite phrases, and I'm sure I'm stealing it from somebody because it's way too brilliant for me to have come up with it. But I'm sure I heard it somewhere, and I just love it, and I use it constantly because it's absolutely true. I mean, look, the Visa IPO is the reason why Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House today. And though the Visa and MasterCard and the law that they passed to allow those two companies to go public have made everybody in Congress so much fucking money that they can't be bought out. They can't and what's funny is they don't want to self-fund it. At that point, it just becomes like greed and about power and about pride and about ego, and House of Cards.
going to like even critical race theory, right? What you're getting upset over it, not us, but clearly it's a point of contention politically. As the black person, we already have to teach our kids how to walk different, talk different, act different, carry yourselves different. If the school not gonna teach them the real shit anyway.
Right.
So why are you getting why are your panties in a bunch over this thing, and you can teach your children at home way better about that kind of stuff than the school ever could?
Well, I feel at the same time we do have a deficit, though. We do have an education deficit where even a lot of people in our own community don't know some of this stuff, don't know a lot of this stuff. And this goes back into especially like some of the, like, I feel like there's a big gap that happened between like the Gen X parents, especially because you had the whole crack cocaine era and that whole epidemic. The school systems got completely just decimated, and it was just farms for pushing people through versus actually trying to teach anybody any damn thing. What's up, Jay? I see Jalen in the chat.
What's up, Jay?
Which, for those who don't know, Jalen is my co-host on Talk of the Ages, on what we've been thinking, and will be joining me for some commentary on my Hebrew apologetics page. So looking forward to that. There we go. SM says, I didn't learn a lot of stuff until college and YouTube. Yes, YouTube taught a lot of people. Like a lot of this information I knew because I studied a lot of these different things. But a lot of people, until this stuff started coming onto YouTube, did not have a clue about it. Now, maybe now we can teach this, but there's stuff which I talk to people about all the time that did not know.
Like for me, on one hand, it was like I got in trouble. My mother made me read Paul Robeson's speeches, and my father was bringing home the ISIS papers with Dr. Francis Cresswell. You know what I mean?
And you got to think that's unique. Your parents, your parents was on some other shit. Most parents,
dude,
weren't.
that's next level right there. Damn.
Yeah.
My parents were not making me read Paul Robeson. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, they was making. I'm telling you, my mom used to make me write, and like I had to remember his speech that he gave at the Un-American Activities Committee.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't remember it now, but
I mean, he's that's another one. They don't talk enough about Paul Robeson. I'm from New Jersey, so we know about Paul Robeson because Paul Robeson, like, he's got buildings named after him here. Like, and a lot of times I went to Rutgers, so like there's literally like buildings at Paul Robeson, the Robeson. I don't even know. It was a gymnasium, I think. But yeah, that guy walked through fire.
He all the time.
And see, like I also got like taught growing up. We were learning about Thurgood Marshall, especially like in the state of Kansas. Believe it or not, Kansas actually has a pretty decent education system on some of this stuff. But like we were learning about the separate but equal. We were learning about the 3/5 of a person. We were learning about George Washington Carver.
Marcus, do you know how long I've had this book?
Wow.
How long I've had this book? It's been a long time. This book has been in the family. So for somebody like me, it's kind of like it's one of those instances where like, yeah, we were taught this growing up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this for me is like a lot of people are just catching up to where I am, so to speak, given what we were taught as children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
let me address Glory Jones, who's in college right now. She's like right in the thick of it and studying this shit. So it's fresh in her mind. Not only on top of the fact that you are the absolute fire queen and you're in the middle of all this and protesting and more knowledgeable than almost anybody I know about most of this shit, and have talked and like lived the life of it. So, but yes, there definitely is a history that's being ignored or whitewashed or again, similar to the TYT, I think that some of these people also were not taught it when they were growing up. So they didn't know it. It wasn't in their sphere of knowledge to be able to pass that on to us as kids. Again, it's much to the detriment. And then you're talking to the Rockefellers and the Morgans, and you're going back to the early 1900s and the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we can go down that. We can go all down that.
Okay, the controlling families that really decided how this country was run, and
how it's being run still.
Yep.
And who said it? Somebody brought up Gerald Horne and Howard Zinn. Those two, I read A People's History. I was still a teenager, and I was reading that. My mom had the book, and it was one of those things where it was like, all right, you got to read this. All right. Again, I was a teenager. Gerald Horne, I ain't hear about him obviously till much older, but he's another good person that people should be listening to as it relates to history. And he breaks stuff down like from not just here in the United States, but he goes throughout the Caribbean, South America. All his shit is like top-notch work,
I stumbled upon Glenn Ford too late. I only really was reading his stuff for about the last year that he was alive. May he rest in peace and power. I mean, that was another just revolutionary.
Black Agenda report. Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Black Agenda Report. Shout out to Dr. Boyce Watkins. I heard Daman talking about him and his channel. He's done a whole lot, especially him and Fly Nubian Queens. They a lot broken down there. I mean, I think about how many people live in Jacksonville and go across the A. Philip Randolph Bridge, but don't know who A. Philip Randolph is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't know about Medgar Evers.
I was thinking either Jersey or New York, and then you just said Jersey. So
yeah, it's Jersey, Northern Jersey, but I'm 15 minutes from New York, and my father had an office in the Empire State Building when I was growing up, and so yeah, whenever I went around the world, I tell people I was from New York because nobody ever liked New Jersey anyway. So
yeah, man, look, that was an old trick everybody used to use. Until they ran into a New Yorker, you'd be like, "Where?"
Well, actually, I'm just outside the city in the suburbs, but that's another story.
I have people in Jersey. They were living actually in like West Milford, New Jersey, wherever.
That's about 15 minutes from me. I'm right. I'm pretty close to there. Actually, that's really funny.
We used to drive from Queens to West Milford. When we were kids, it used to feel like a 9-hour drive,
and it's like the country up there.
Yes, they just had a lot of land and a big ass house.
Yeah, land is still pretty cheap up there. Still pretty cheap up there, but it's getting expensive. Like, there's no place in New Jersey at this point where it's really hard to find like a nice. The houses are getting insane. BlackRock and Vanguard and KKR that are buying up all the real estate and getting people kicked out of their houses, jacking up rents, etc. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in West Milford also.
No, I saw Misha say somebody's landlord raised the rent 100. They raised it. Some of my roommates about $900.
Oh my god!
I don't know where they were supposed to find $900 extra in your budget without bringing in, a roommate, a boyfriend, what have you, or getting some money.
Selling weed. I mean, something.
Job. Yeah, I mean.
Or you could be like Warren up there selling Mantel.
Hey. Well,
not everybody's got that fine tail like Warren does. Come on.
Exactly. But a $900 increase on your rent. I mean, one of them moved, the other one had to negotiate longer, like a 2-year. Had to agree to stay for 2 years, at the apartment, so they would lower it that first year. But it's just ridiculous. Like when they hit me with 400, I thought that was a lot, and I was pissed off when they hit me with a $400 increase. I saw it and I was like, oh, I was looking at the paper. I was like, oh, 400. They meant 40. They put an extra zero. So no, I got the email too. That shit said 400. I was like, yo, these people
Damn.
are crazy.
This is why home ownership, look, you can't get your mortgage jacked up by $400 a month. That's not happening to homeowners. That's only happening to renters out there because your interest rate is fixed for the most part. Okay. You buy a house, you got a fixed mortgage interest rate. And not only that, as everything goes up, your monthly payment in general, like compared to what the market and what everything else is, basically stays about the same. So it ends up going down in relation to the way that everything else goes up inflation wise. So, I've got basically the same mortgage payment that I had 8 years ago because I bought a house and I'm kind of impervious to the fluctuations in the marketplace. And all I can do is lower my rate and do better for myself. And all the renters don't have that ability.
Glory's funny. No, it was US dollars.
Jamaican dollars. I love it. Fucking Glory, such fire. I love you.
I wish they would have said like 400 pesos or something like that. I've been like, all right, like.
Is that Canadian dollars? Can I do the exchange rate at least? Come on.
But they told me 400. I'm like, oh, he's smoking crack.
I don't know. I was wondering, did you two gentlemen hear John Kiriakou kind of put Malcom Nance on blast?
I didn't. I heard that was happening. The best one was Daryl Black of the Empire did a tweet and called him Rambro, and I fell on the floor. That was it. I was done. Rambro. That's it.
Makes me think of that. See, that makes me think of that old 70s porn, Rambo the Destroyer. Like,
right?
I don't know if y'all know about all that, but
wait, he called him Rambro?
He called him Rambro, and I just fell. That was it. I was like, nobody else can do anything else. That guy, he's done. Oh, that was a murder, straight up.
He got John Kiriakou, like, really puts him on blast. We don't even have to play this whole clip, but that's why I said, fault lines. My issues aside with some of Jamarl's stuff late, you guys need to hear this.
The first show I ever went on was Fault Lines, actually. Is about a year ago.
Wow, I would like to get on Fault Lines one day. I keep telling Jamarl I want to talk to him about UFOs, but here we go.
He won't even take my DMs anymore. I don't know. Like, I went on a couple times, and then like he wanted to talk about TYT, and I did not want to talk about TYT. I want to talk about Assange because Julian Assange's father, stepfather, and his brother were touring the United States, and I was like, dude, I don't give a shit about TYT. TYT's yesterday's news. Assange's his family's here now. Let's amplify that story. Let's get it out. And
it looks like a giant compared to the other two. Yeah, bro. In that clip.
Right? Well, that's just where the camera is. He's just sitting closer. But yeah, that's funny. Is Shane still on the show with him, or is he not doing that?
No, this is his new co-host, Manila Chan.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which I was like, is that a stage name? That's your real name? That's probably wrong to ask, but that doesn't sound like a real name. I'm sorry.
Right.
But here, check.
Well, people would say that about Marcus Cage too,
Touche.
True.
Touche.
Welcome back to Fault Lines on Radio Sputnik. My name is Jamarl Thomas. I'm joined with.
He does have an excellent radio voice, I do gotta say.
He does, but he takes 8 minutes to set up his question. So you're going to listen to him talk for about 6 minutes, and then John gets to talk.
We're going to skip it to John. I mean, good thing this clip's only 12 minutes long. We're only probably going to play maybe a third of it.
Much love to Jamarl, man, dude. There's not a lot of people in this space.
Yes. Much love to him anyway. I still love
him. Much love to him anyway. I still love the man.
With him on that one point.
And we have the one and only John Kiriakou. He's a former CIA officer, co-host of Political Misfits, my old show.
Oh, he gets to it pretty quick.
Author of books including The CIA Insider's Guide to the Iran Crisis, The Reluctant Spy. John, which has never, ever happened, which is provably false. Yeah, provably false. And so I started looking into him, and he was full of it in general, meaning career and everything else. Oh, yeah. So let's go to you. You know Nance. I do. You've met him. Oh, yeah. And we had this conversation yesterday where we were in here dying laughing. Please give us your experience. with Malcolm Nance. So it's freedom fighter. It's the spring of 2000. There I was.
It's a beautiful spring day.
I was serving overseas, and I had to return to CIA headquarters for a class. Yeah. It was an advanced class on counterterrorism operations. And as part of this class, they gave us a stack of books about terrorism, like a dozen books.
Exactly, Thomas.
Well, I'm busy. I'm not going to read these 12 books on terrorism. So I did what any government employee would do. I put them on eBay. Right?
You sold the book?
I got $50 for them.
Government books. Okay.
I love them. So I put them on eBay. Some guy buys them, $50. He sends me an email. He said, "Hey, I'm the high bidder on these terrorism books." I said, "That's cool." He said, I'm in Arlington, Virginia." I said, "Oh, I'm in Arlington, Virginia. Rather than me sending them to you, why don't we just connect and I'll just give them to you?" He said, "Okay, yeah, my name's Malcolm Nance." I said, "Cool. We met at this bar in Roslyn."
What?
It's a small town.
How random is that?
So I meet with him after work that day, and he had this group of people. There were 3 or 4 other people there, and he was holding forth, right? And I was undercover, so I didn't say anything about what I did.
Identify yourself.
Yeah. Right. All I said is, "Hi, my name's John. I have these books." That's it. And he said, "Oh, do you have an interest in terrorism?" And I said, yeah, I'm interested in it. And he says, "Well, I'm a counterterrorism professional." Okay, well, I was in the CIA's counterterrorism center at the time, and I never heard of this guy. So I said, "Okay, that's cool. So what do you do?" And he said, "Oh, I've been my whole adult life in counterterrorism, doing operations." And I knew he was full of crap. Yeah. From the get-go. Wow. I mean, you can spot a phony from a mile away. Yeah. I spotted him as a phony from a mile away.
He just had the look.
He did. He had the look and the arrogance. Yeah. That's what struck me. Now, I've sold a lot of things on eBay over the years. I don't remember who I sold what to 22 years ago. I remember Malcolm Nance. Right. So sure enough, I don't know, a year, 2 years later, whatever it was, I saw him on TV. And I was like, that's the guy that I sold those books to. And so I followed him all these years. Well, I've known all these years the guy is just simply a phony. Yeah. He's fake. He's built up this fake persona, and he's made lots of money doing it. So he's become more and more stridently anti-Russian, not necessarily because he believes in, the Ukrainian cause or whatever, because he knows that this is a good way to make money.
That's right. Yeah.
He's going to write a book. He's going to come back with grandiose claims of valor and heroicism. Exactly. Yeah. Nowhere near the battlefront. No, and this is the funny thing. There was no clip in that gun, first of all. Right. Secondly, for like one brief second, MSNBC identified his location as like hugging the Polish border, right? He's 800 miles from the combat. Hugging the Polish border. He's never going to even hear a gunshot. And then he's going to come back. And like you say, Jamarl is going to write his book, and he's going to make the rounds, and he's going to get a fellowship at some think tank nobody's ever heard of. And he's going to resume his position as the thinker on the Democratic left on counterterrorism issues. Well, here's the rub with that. So right here, a retired senior chief, E8 airborne mission supervisor, cryptologist, and spec war operative I've given. This is an article that was written on Nance. He says, retired Chief Malcolm Nance a wide berth. Basically, look, we've given him a wide berth on this. He said, bottom line, he left the Naval Security Group in disgrace. We, our professional communities and association, generally have a good laugh at his self-promotion, exaggeration, and performance in associations and his pretense of expertise. Basically, this guy doesn't know squat. No, and he doesn't know anything. His experience in counterterrorism, literally, is what he read in those books I sold him.
Wow. Oh my God! But John, how then? If we fast forward from the year 2000,
but then we have Kiriakou
happens, maybe that's where he got, people forgot about him, and so he gets to reemerge.
Upside the head.
He's.
You on mute, Marcus? Marcus, you on mute?
Oh, what was that, Chris? I didn't hear you.
No, I was saying, so it's Kiriakou we have to blame for bringing us Nance?
For selling him those books.
Yes, technically, he sold him the books. He sold him the books.
Thanks, John. Damn, dude.
Damn,
That's pretty
look, you
devastating.
never know.
That's what I'm
God.
saying. I was like, this needs to be out. People need to see this because he just destroyed him. His whole narrative that he's completely fake. Completely fake. I mean, and I don't think most people even know about that article where it's basically saying, yes, this guy, you know, he resigned in disgrace. Because see, what I was telling people is I was like, well, if he got out of the military and somehow he went into the CIA and terrorism groups and he was undercover, so we didn't hear about any of that stuff, then that can maybe lend some credibility to some of this crap that he makes up. But John completely just, he nixed all that. He has no background with us at all. This is just basically a senior chief who left the military kind of in disgrace, who basically just, because this is what intelligence does in the military. They get info, they pass it to the captain, that's it. All they do is transfer messages. He's not getting any kind of enhanced training. He's not, being parachuted behind enemy lines or none of this shit like that. And then, because I told Chris, or was it Chris? Was it you I was talking? I'm not sure. So I was telling somebody, I said, I didn't watch the clip because of him on Joy Reid show because I can't stand them for one.
Oh, I can't. I couldn't.
And so I couldn't tolerate watching it. But if I would have watched it and analyzed it like John did, I might have seen and got to notice that beautiful little thing there that he didn't even have a clip in his gun.
Nope.
He had no clip, and he's in Poland.
And safety was on too. The safety was off, and then there was and the action was moved in the wrong place. Like there were like 4 things that anybody who knew anything once they looked at it. And I'm not a military guy.
Are we sure his last name is not Smollett?
Right? Oh,
are we sure? Nance might be the cover. It might be Malcolm Smollett, like Juicy brother.
Dude,
I prefer what
Nance with no
Dave
pads.
Chappelle calls him. The French actor Juicy Smollett.
I mean, his whole shit looked fake. Referring back to Nance, like his whole shit was fake as fuck from the first time I saw it. I was like, yeah, I'm done talking. I'm gonna.
Dude, Reef put up one of those pictures on Twitter. I think he got over 1,000 likes on the thing. He just put it was like he had a Red Ryder BB gun and a backpack on his chest. It was fucking great.
I mean, it was just the dumbest shit I have ever seen. So, you know what? From now on, we're gonna call him Malcolm Smollett. Like, fuck that.
Oh, that's
Juicy brother.
Great.
Marcus, that's how we refer to
Juicy Nance.
Juicy Nance. I'm gonna take a picture of me with like a Molotov cocktail, with a sign saying, I'm fighting here all the way from California to Ukraine. Me like trying to cock it and throw it because that's about the equivalent of his force.
Where he's headed in Poland.
Yeah, I'm throwing it all the way to Ukraine.
Oh my God.
In fact, no, I'm not going to throw it to Ukraine. I'm going to throw it all the way. I'm going to throw it all the way to Putin and take out his whole organization with one Molotov cocktail, all the way from Southern California.
Yeah, it was really bad. And again, it's somebody's grandma, somebody's auntie, and somebody's mama, and maybe somebody's daddy somewhere who really believe in that. That's the sad part.
And they're like shedding a tear. They're like shedding. He's an American hero, dude. The shit on my Facebook. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. Don't go to Facebook. It's a complete nightmare. And that's okay. That's okay. And another one again. Shout out to Dar. If anybody's not following Black in the Empire, go follow him. He put out a tweet today and he said, if you're following corporate media, you have no idea what's happening in Ukraine or why. And I was like, oh, thank you, dude. I fucking love you, bro, because that is exactly what's going on. All right.
I work with a guy who says all the time, I listen to all the sides. And you know what he does? he flips from CNN to Fox all day long.
Right, and NPR and the New York Times and the Washington Post, and thinks that he's informed.
I'm like, you really think that's being informed? Okay. I'm like, so have you heard anything that that Putin has said himself? Have you heard anything that anybody outside of Western media said? In fact, have you even heard what BBC has said?
SM took my comment.
Right.
Just go outside of the US.
Did you know that Modi and Khan and Xi and all these world leaders are still meeting with Putin despite the fact that he's invading Ukraine right now? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because
you know that
he's not Hitler. He's not an evil dictator, you know, whatever it is. Like, this guy's been around 30 years. He's been running a country. But all of a sudden, well, it's again, they're just it's I believe in the current thing. Whoever put up that profile pic for everybody with the angry face and the rainbow flag, and it's just amazing. Lucy's been tweaking people with that for a while. She got so much hate, she stopped doing it.
I think she should have kept going. I mean, that's
I think so too.
I'm like, I'll just bathe in the hate. Just bring it my way.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes. You know, there's a lot of nastiness coming at you, especially if you're a woman in this space. So
yeah,
you know, she's a good person. She really is, and I think that kind of gets to her after. She wants to be a troll and she wants to kind of poke the bear, but when it really comes hard at you, it's not really for her. And I love her, and she'd be the first one to admit
just
that
double
too.
down and get because she's actually a sweetheart, and she's a sweetheart, and so she'll poke the bear, and so then when that nastiness comes back, she doesn't really react like somebody from the streets like me will react. I get even nastier. I'm just gonna it's better for me to not get too nasty because I'm just gonna keep on going. And it's like if you watch my Twitter account, you know why it stays exactly the same? Because for the amount of people who start following me, that's the amount of people who are leaving me at the same time. It's literally just like all of the vote blue no matter who people filtering out, and then everybody who's vote blue no matter who are coming in. I mean, literally, I watch. Okay, you lost 3 or 4. Okay, now you lost 10. Now you just gained 4 or 5, and I just watch it literally for the past year and a half, 2 years, literally stay the same.
Well, that's you getting unfollowed. That's also them unfollowing people from your shit. That's also, yeah, totally. You know, they're deactivating, you know, inactive accounts, etc. They've been playing games with all of us, man, and suppressing anybody that's questioning their narratives. They transcript every single live stream. So, by the way, anybody, it's a little tip that I put out on. If you're watching YouTube, and it's not going to happen live on our live stream. But after about 12 hours on a video, if you look at any video and you click on the 3 dots, you can actually open transcript, and they'll transcript the entire thing. And you can actually search for any keyword, and it'll go right to it. If you do a Control F on your browser, it'll find a keyword. And so and they're doing that shit. And then you can see how they're transcripting it. You can see what they're writing, and you can see what they're seeing and what's triggering their algorithms. So it's pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, there's Daryl. If you watch TV, you have no idea what's happening. Why in Ukraine? Seriously, because it's all propaganda. Thanks. It's all blue and yellow flags.
And if you guys can't see it, Chris put it in the chat also for you. We had one more thing. I wanted to make sure to get to it because actually Indy some of the stuff he said kind of reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Chris was talking about that. Oh, and Jared. Don't take it offensive when some of the bigger platforms don't necessarily follow you back because they get a lot of attention and stuff like that. So sometimes they don't necessarily follow everybody back or not right away. Me, I tend to vet some of the people. Like if you only got like 180 like tweets, like no, that's kind of sketchy. Especially if you've been on Twitter for like 12 years, I'm probably not going to follow you back. And then if people don't have pictures, an image that I think is them, I don't really follow them back either very often. Or if I see stuff like Ukraine, or I hear you like mask mandates and vaccine mandates and all that stuff in there, I'm probably not going to follow you back. So if people see stuff like that, it might not follow you back. So just give it time. But sorry, just wanted to put that out there because I mean, I got a lot of people who are following me, and when I see Ukraine flags, I'm like, yeah, not getting a follow back from this guy.
Yeah, again, Daryl's. I think he's got like over 60,000 followers. So he's got a pretty big account, and it's he's great. But so I just got lucky when I reached out to him and I told him what we were doing about INN back last fall, and he was like, "This sounds awesome." And one of these days, he's actually going to get going with his own live stream. He's got a YouTube channel, and we're gonna help him out. We're gonna support him with any support that he needs with regard to engineering or technology or graphics or whatever it is. That's what INN's gonna do there. So I'm pretty psyched about him.
I might need to reach out to you for some of that because we have so much stuff that we've been wanting to throw up, and we're I'm not the most technical savvy guy, even though it might appear that I am. I've gotten a little bit better because I've had to do it, but there's so many clips and images that we be wanting to throw up that I'm like, whatever, just talk about it.
Yeah, we're working on trying to build like a team of editors and then train and teach another generation of video editors to go in and use some of these free tools, open source tools that are out there like this DaVinci Resolve, so that you can go in and make your own clips right after you're done streaming. Now, a lot of people don't want to do that. The last thing you want to do cut off a 3-hour stream is start to make clips.
Yeah.
Okay. Or that's why we're trying to find more people that want to learn how to do this, and we'll teach them, and they'll become engineers. They'll become producers for these shows. That'll run your StreamYard or that'll run your OBS. Like Eric, who's now running Sabby's stream, for example.
Taking shots.
Glory taking shots at me.
Glory sniped you twice. I think you did.
I'm telling you, when I see you, Glory, I'm putting you in a headlock when I see you. I will see you around, Glory.
Look, the machine is saying insert coin, Marcus.
I might have to give her a noogie. She might need a noogie at this point.
That is my sister. You might have to fight me a little bit on that one. But no, she deserves it sometimes. I love her, but she pokes the bear. So
always busting the old man's
I know. She's the best. So you said you had another story that dovetails in.
International spy can't work tech. Exactly. That shows you. I'm a grunt. That's what I am. I am a grunt I'm a philosopher grunt. Let's put it that way. I work with my hands, but somehow I have my brain is all over the place. But yes, as far as tech, I am not a hacker over here, buddy.
We can talk tech for sure.
Oh yeah, that
should I put that one up, Thomas? Yeah, I'll throw that background up. He said I made a badass picture of the background.
Oh yeah, I need that one so I can put in my background.
Oh, look at that!
There we go. Slide out of the way.
Nice.
I could do stuff like that, but like I don't know if you guys saw on my Twitter the one which I did. Actually, you know what? I should share that, shouldn't I, Chris?
I was at work, kid, and when you texted it to me, I showed my coworker like, "Yo, look at this shit," and she was like, "Yo, that shit fits."
That looks badass, man.
I mean, somebody was like, "Is that a movie?" It's like, could be. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind watching that movie.
Yeah, it's on every Saturday night at midnight. That's what it's on. You got a 2-hour movie running every Saturday night called The Political Matrix. What do you mean?
Yeah, see, there you go. See, that's why I need you around, Indy. You know,
the marketing and the hype man. That's right. That's right. I know the tech. I know the marketing and the networking.
I got it for those who are not on Twitter and did not see my Twitter. I'm going to share this with you. This is what I made up the other day. And by the way, I was at work when I did this too. I did both of these at work. You know, find a little point, go off to a corner somewhere while I'm taking an order out and setting something up, and then go do a little bit and then put my phone back in my pocket and then pull it back out and do it again. Yeah, this is
Oh, I did see that. Oh my. I did see that. I was like, damn, that's gonna make some people upset.
That was my goal, but Twitter they limit my the amount of interaction anyway, so most people don't even see it.
Oof.
And then this one.
Well, I don't know if I saw that one. Oh, it's a Springer episode. I love it. I love it. Jerry.
I'm always starting
shit.
some shit. I'm always trying to, ruffle the edges, but nobody wants to engage me on my silliness.
Oh,
They
that's some
just
funny
ignore
stuff
me.
right there.
They just ignore me. Chris, you were going to tell us a little bit about the Sharif family.
No, I mean, I kind of want, but we don't have much time because it's already like 3:15.
Okay, well we'll save it for next. We'll save it for next show.
Yeah.
All right.
But we got to hold him to it. All right, Indy, you gonna help me hold him to it? We got to talk about the Sharif family in Pakistan.
I'll be here next week in chat, so I'll make sure he covers it.
That's a bet.
Yeah, that's what I want because it opens it up. It goes into a larger topic. So.
Well, and I think that there's going to be more shit that's going to happen to make it. I just feel like all of these things that are going on, so many things are connected and so many things are building and building and building. And so it's not like it's going to not be a relevant subject next week. Just what I've been watching.
Correct.
Just like how we talked about how the Israel-Palestine stuff is heating up again. That's building up. Then you got Iran over here, they're making more threats and doing things. You got the all the stuff that's going on with Sri Lanka. You got stuff that's heating up in Taiwan. Right now, the whole world is all heating up.
In China,
India, Pakistan, because
Pakistan.
They know that our focus is in one specific place, so they can fuck around. It's like
you heard North Korea. They're like, "Yo, what about us?"
Right? Japan's been awful quiet lately. I wouldn't be surprised to hear they're working on some shit, but they do that quietly, so you won't hear about that till later.
They too busy working on sex hotels with robots. They ain't doing nothing to nobody.
Well, you know what
they're doing is
God bless them.
they're being a good little bitch to the U.S. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, everybody there's gonna be hooked up to the metaverse and in hotels with robots.
And then
they're making our cars.
And then what they're doing is they're what a lot of people are forgetting about that is because a lot of these nations, we're thinking in like modern day what's going on. Some of them are thinking back to long histories. And China has been beneath Japan for quite some time. And now that they have tech and power and weapons that are over Japan, and they're like, oh, okay, we see you guys creeping into that Ukraine, Russia shit. And I think that's gonna telling you, China is trying. I feel like China's been sitting there for like 200 years, like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna tag you back.
Just
and
waiting.
They just been waiting. Patiently waiting.
You, they can throw the entire population of Japan at Japan and still have 1.5 billion people left. I mean, let's call it what it is. They can do that at the United States too. Yeah.
And Australia trying to get themselves wiped off the map too. So I mean, that's some more. It's like so much shit that I feel like heating up. And just like
Japan is severely. No, I don't want to use severely. Let me change that. Take that back. Japan is upside down, big time, as it relates to their death rate, birth rate. Their death rate exceeds their birth rate by, a decent amount. So that's why they building all them goddamn hotels with all that.
Yeah, because they got a bunch of dudes. Yeah, a bunch of pent up dudes because of their culture. Like it's a marriage culture, and it's definitely a problem.
And they all watching anime, using their right and left hands to like get their shit off. And the real life girls don't cut it, so then they go to these fucking hotels.
I was gonna say 70, 80-year-old men are having women dress up like little schoolgirls still too.
Bless all my friends that are into that anime thing. I do not. That has never once done it for me one bit. It's a cartoon. I don't know, man. But hey, man, you do you. Correct. I'm all about it, but I don't know.
I like
the real thing.
I got kids. look, I got kids, so I like a little bit of anime, but I was fully out of the house by the time I was into it already. So
SMO, man, they don't have sex and they love robots, dude. That's great.
You see, Kelly always starting some trouble.
And E. Heller, volcano-based solutions. That's what he always says. Volcano-based solutions. And you know what? With the way the world's melting down, I'm starting to advocate for more of that shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you incur the wrath. You incur the wrath of glory. Don't talk about her anime.
That's all right. That's all right. I got back and forth. Look, she's a weeb, and we all know she's a weeb, and we love her for it. It's all good.
So, I guess as we get ready to close it out, Indy, can you give us all? And I know you're always so super busy on all the things you're doing.
Holy shit!
Can you let everybody know just like what you got going on? All the pots that you're stirring right now. I know you got you've had recently a couple of new people join the network. Also, I want to know about that.
Yep.
I want to know about more of your plans on what you have, for us to look forward to with Indie Left News. Just what do you have all going on, and let everybody know all the different ways that they can find you and keep up with you.
Oh man, I'd be here a half hour if I was doing all that, but we go through it pretty fast. But tomorrow night we got How Do We Miss That? That's our Sunday night show that Reef and I do every Sunday night at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. We cover about 4, 5, 6 stories that nobody covered, that I didn't really see covered much throughout the week. So that's kind of like missed stories. INN News. So again, 6 months ago, and we're coming up on our 6-month anniversary now, I got together with a bunch of different independent streamers. I said, guys, I think that we can be stronger together. We can pool resources. We can amplify each other. We can be guests on each other's shows. We can help each other with tech. And we can just have allies out there in the space that we're all doing the same kind of stuff. And we became Indie News Network. And again, I've talked about some of the people tonight on stream. If you go to indienews.network, you can see a full list of everybody who's part of the network. It's been a lot of fun bringing all these people together who didn't know each other before. Again, are pretty close in their message, but still come from a unique, diverse background. We're really a rainbow coalition of people. And I hate to use that Jesse Jackson line, but it really is. I mean, we've got black, white, brown, men, women. We try to cover the whole spectrum, and I think we do that just about as well as any network. Again, shout out to MCSC; they were one of the models for this. Shout out to RBN; that was also one of the models for what how we put this together. And then again, so Reef is now doing a show called Reefer After Dark on there, and we've got INN News that just started last month, and that's going to feature different INN members every week. Reef will do probably one of the main hosts, or Colin will. And then we'll all kind of rotate in between, around. So you'll see different people in the network appearing on that show. It'll be exclusive to the network channels. Again, indienews.network. You can find all the network channels. Then I started a show called Friends of Indie Left, so I could do interviews with some of the amazing people in this space, one-on-one. I actually turn my camera on and do a Zoom call with them, so they get to see my face and have a conversation with me, but I don't put my face out on camera. Maybe one of these days I will actually go out live, but I'm in a right-wing business, and I'm in sales, and I don't want to maybe turn off a customer, and that's really the only reason why I do that. I'm dying to go on camera and see all you. Seriously.
Look, Indy, I feel you 1,000%.
So
I get it. Let's see.
But yeah, so Friends of Indie Left. Seriously,
sometimes I just say, wait till my job finds this. Oh shit, I'm out of here.
Right? Like it wasn't even my job. It was.
I don't know.
It was a customer. It was a customer that would find it and fire me, and more than my job themselves, because I can always find another job. But it's customers, people who buy from me. That hurt more than anything. So again, I stay anonymous. I don't talk about anything I do, politics or news wise, with anything having to do with work. I really compartmentalize the two, and it's a challenge, but again, I love doing what I do with this. This is my passion project, and I do it all day, every day, and I'm not going to stop. So again, we're on like every platform you can imagine. So first of all, independentleft.news is like the main news hub that updates once a day, has a bunch of RSS feeds and YouTube channels that goes into it, so that you can get all the news in one central place without having to go to 18 different YouTube pages and 22 different websites to see all the articles that you want to see. That's why I put that together. Then I said, you know what? There's so much content there. How do we take the best of that, or a small sample size of that, and give it to people so that it's just like an intro, so it's not like a fire hose of overwhelming shit. And that's when I created the Substack. So leftist.today is our Substack, and that's where I put in only like a half dozen videos every day. So here are some videos that are representative of what I was seeing out there that I really liked. You got some live streams, you got some clips, you got some TikToks. Sometimes I try to mix it up, and I try to bring everybody into it and try to put a mix and a flavor and bring everyone in. Again, I do a lot of featuring of RBN and MCSC and INN and Savvy Sabs and Political Matrix, and Second Thought is like an automatic every Friday night. Second Thought's video is going to be in there. They're just a great channel that puts out some awesome videos every week. And again, trying to get more people buying into, not buying into, but understanding and agreeing with the philosophy and all the stuff that we talk about, which is about for everybody. It's only self-serving for all of us. Then again, so I'm also about to start doing a show. May 3rd is our first show. I'm going to be the host of a Jesse Jet show. I'm not going to tell you what the name of it is right now. It's still working title, but he's going to play music, and I'm going to kind of be like the host and talk to chat and do a little bit of interpretation on his songs. He's going to play some songs, and we'll talk about some of the lyrics and do some spoken word. And I can't be more excited to do that. That's completely something outside of news and politics that I've done. And again, it's just, I love the way that guy thinks and writes and talks. And when he asked me, I was just blown away. I'm like, yes. And then, so Friday, May 6th, we're going to be doing an INN anniversary stream for our 6-month anniversary. As many people that are going to jump on that are going to jump on. It's just going to be an open Zoom call for the members. And that'll be streamed 4:00 Eastern, Friday 6th. Saturday the 7th, I'm going to be doing JB Font's going to be doing Friends of Indie Left. So I'm busy like every night. I'm doing something, and then again, we're putting out a daily news update, a daily Substack whenever we can on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, t.me/IND Left Media. You can follow us on Telegram, YouTube, Rockfin, of course, rockfin.com/IND Left News. We're almost up to 500 subscribers already, and it's just like the first month. So doing great on that platform.
Wow, good, good.
We're on Rumble, we're on Odyssey, we're everywhere. So look for Independent Left News. You'll find me, and if not, tag me on Twitter. Ask me where you can find me. Discord also, big thing. I'm big into Discord, and IndependentLeft.gg is our Discord server. And again, we're aggregating. We have channels for all the different channels you follow and watch, and it brings in their tweets and their videos and their articles and their podcasts all into one dedicated channel to that person. Really cool stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's just about all of it.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that just in case I get myself in trouble, which I do occasionally. Actually, I've been trying to be good on Twitter, so I'll make sure to exchange my number just in case I say something that they decide to suspend me. Like when I was gonna have my first interview with Nico, that's what happened. I got suspended from Twitter, and I had no way to contact him and let it know, and so was not able to do that. That was make sure you guys, if you guys forget all that, just run it back just a little bit, and then just remember all that. Or if not, just follow Indy. That makes it pretty easy to keep up with it. Indy is excellent as far as putting out notifications on who's streaming, when, what time, what the content is about. And so, I mean, definitely, I like the idea of trying to, I feel like the only left that they're actually the real left, between Indie Left, INN, MCSC, and RBN, we're, I guess, a small eco center where some are a little bit more to one point than the other. I twittered, I spoke, I got suspended. Yeah, I get it. I don't. In fact, on my regular one, Marcus Rage, I can't even go professional on that count.
Marcus,
I had too many suspensions.
We gotta let Marcus remember. Indie wife waiting. We gotta let him get to it.
Oh yeah, we got some good loving coming. It's almost 2, but that's all right.
I had to put this up there. Mad Marxist, I didn't try to do that.
Oh,
Okay?
come on.
I
What
didn't
happened?
try to do that. I didn't try.
What happened?
To do that.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
If you go back and see, like, we were on what was it, on Franco's show.
Right, he said he was going to debate you, right?
Well, he hasn't like hardly been online like since then. We went back and forth on a couple of different things, and he just kind of like, I honestly haven't seen him do any content since then. So I don't know if it has anything to do with me. Maybe he just has some personal stuff going on. I don't want to think that it. I mean, let's hope that that's what it was. Hopefully, I didn't say anything to discourage the young man. But I did say like a lot of the ideas that he had about these like perfect utopias and stuff were kind of like a fool's errand and not really sticking with reality in a kind way, not that bad.
Yeah, he I know he was starting a new job and he was going through some shit mentally, and again he's been a supporter of ours and of mine, and again he look between January 6th and COVID and Rittenhouse, people's brains have been broken. There has been this mass formation psychosis, you can call it. You know, they just hit us with all this shit over and over again. It's like, how many people make it through, like realizing all the different narratives that they're throwing at you and how much of it's propaganda and how much of it, you know, again, the Rittenhouse stuff was really hard because, again, if you look at it from a legal perspective, it sucks the way it happened, and that he had the case, you know, the judge handed him.
You sound like you saw that. You sound like you saw part of that.
Oh, man. What?
No
What?
comment?
What? What?
Yeah, and then the one after.
Franco's my brother. Come on. Of course I saw some of that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. Like the other ones, I will say yes. I know that for a fact. They don't hardly even do content, and when they do, their numbers are dramatically lower. I went against the Zionist guy, and then Skeptical Mantis. Yeah, that kind of didn't work out good for them.
Skeptical. You know, he stood behind AOC at a meeting going, how come you're not doing this, and how come you're not doing that? And she ignored him, and that was like, I don't know. I remember that. And he's got shout out to him. I will give him credit that he was really on David Sirota and seeing David Sirota being a sheep herder for Bernie and for a long time. And I was blind to it. I still love David Sirota, but I see some of his limitations and some of his liabilities. His unwillingness to call out anything having to do with Assange is a big red flag to me because he's still a Democrat in the end. He still hopes that things will work out for Democrats, but he's constantly calling out the Democrats on corruption. So shout out to him for doing that. But in the end, he still shepherds and cucks and votes with the Democrats. Like, dude, you're like 96% of the way there. Let's go. Just use the lever, use the Daily Poster as the vehicle to really shit on these guys and call it out on a daily basis. Democrats suck as bad as Republicans. You have to say it. If you don't say it, they think the Democrats are better, and they're not.
Yep. And I was gonna say, I guess if I don't know, I'll talk to Jalen, and if me and I don't know, we might be streaming either tomorrow, maybe Monday. Me and Jalen will probably be streaming. I might just take the day off tomorrow. But know that I will. We do have an interview. Political Matrix will be on Doom and Gloom with Sebs and Ali. So make sure you guys check for that. We're going to be talking biblical prophecies. So that should be a fun one. But I guess if that is it, we're going to hit and conclude the show. Let Indy Left go and get some good loving. Mr. Cy Lawson probably going to be doing the same damn thing. I don't know, shit. I should do the same damn thing. But that's
pleasure
it.
being on Matrix for the first time. Thank you for inviting me. You know, again, I've been watching the show. Ali and Sebs told me about this a long time ago. Again, shout out to Sebs for really turning me on to you guys and onto this show. And she's like, you know, I think you really like what Marcus is doing. I think Marcus would be a really good fit. And she was telling me about you 6, 8, 9 months ago. So again, all credit to her. And she was one of the founding members of Indie News Network. And again, to her credit, she didn't really see this being for her and went in a different direction. And I wish her all the best. And I've never had anything but love for her and Ali and again, have amplified their work whenever they put out new stuff, and they do excellent work as well. So nothing but love.
Yeah, and everybody, y'all have a wonderful night.
All right,
Go
everyone.
do something
Have a good
fun.
night.
Burn them
Thanks,
if you
everybody.
got them. Drink them if you like it. And thanks again, Indy. This will not be the last time you will be on here. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah, Indy. Yeah, you you got the pass too, man.
Cool, man.
All right.
Absolutely.
Y'all have
Night,
a good one.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.